Oh, what was your fondest memory of high school?
Oh, I don't know that I can repeat it on the radio, my friends. Probably had to do with French kissing of one of this really, really attractive cheerleader named Amy Green. That was one of my fondest memories of high school. French kissing Amy Green. How about you, Benjamin?
Winning the academic team championship my senior year. National title. It was actually on television, which was really cool.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
We ended up actually on the front page of the Union Tribune.
Also very cool.
Me and my teammates, which was fun to see my picture on the front page of the paper.
That's awesome.
Day.
Yeah. Probably led to wanting to be in the public spotlight for the next 30 years.
Didn't lead to a lot of French kissing, I'll tell you that.
That's fair enough. Paulie, how about you? What was your favorite moment of high school?
Favorite moment, fondest memory? I don't know. I guess favorite moment is different than fondest memory.
Fondest memory.
Just the relationships that I made with my buddies. I mean,
all right, that's very safe answer.
Yeah, we still
stay in touch. Love my
friends we made along
the way. Yeah, that's exactly right.
6 of us, we had a good run.
Exactly right.
We had a really good time.
I loved that start to the program. Good morning, everybody. It's a bit tongue-in-cheek, as you can imagine. Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan. We will get our heads right now. We can talk about everything that went down. It was a busy weekend. That's certainly true. Very, very busy weekend. I'm Woodsy. That's Paul Reindl. He's our executive producer, YouTube director. Good morning, Paulie.
Good morning.
Benjamin Higgins is our Secretary of Homeland Exploration, probably wishing he was exploring the homeland right now. This seems like a day that you would have had a vacation scheduled because the world, baseball-wise, is ending, seemingly, and it feels like one of those days you'd be like, oh, man, I'm sorry, I'm out. I had a trip planned.
Would have been nice. I sent Shelly on a Mother's Day vacation. I sent her out to the desert, hooked her up with the condo, let her have some time to herself while I watched our post-operative dog all weekend.
Oh, boy.
She was actually a good girl for the most part. She does not like having the cone on her head, though, and has figured out how to
Shelly doesn't like the cone?
The dog.
Yeah. Okay.
Has figured out how to extricate herself from the cone, so she requires...
Of course she did.
...really heavy supervision. Now, she's been a good girl. She hasn't picked at her scar or her stitches
as far as you know.
As far as I know that I've seen, obviously I haven't seen every second of every day. The vet said, try putting like a t-shirt on her.
Yeah.
Like that could, keep her from getting to the scar, but she got out of the t-shirt too. She's like David Blaine, very good at getting out of things.
Shalane Blaine. Well, listen, that's fantastic. I had a great weekend. My timing was impeccable, beyond impeccable for getting off of Twitter. Nuked my Twitter
didn't realize that.
About 10
you
minutes.
Haven't been on Twitter, huh?
About 10 minutes after the show ended, was at a stoplight on Miramar after leaving, and I go, that's it, I'm done. And I explained why in the 8 o'clock hour. I have heard through the grapevine that there are many theories floating around as to why I deleted Twitter. And I told the story at 8 a.m. on Friday, if you want to go back and listen. But it for me, honestly, there's a few different reasons. And the main one was that I snapped at my kid on Thursday. I snapped at him. Why? Because I'm arguing with a guy with a lemon emoji who has 12 followers about baseball and whether or not Bob Melvin is the right man for the job. And my son said to me, Dad, how do I do my belt for his T-ball uniform? I go, Bo, give me a minute. And I snapped at him and I go, did I just snap at my kid from arguing with a stranger on Twitter that I don't know? And the answer was yes, I did. And I felt like a massive piece of S after I did it. Then I started to think about, well, I would get up at 4:30 in the morning. And the first thing I would do, guess what? Check Twitter. Then I would go to bed at 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. Guess what the last thing I did? Check Twitter. Guess what I did from 4:30 to 9:30 all day, every day? And I mean including dinner. I'm eating a meal. I've got Bo to my left, Taylor to my right, Hannah across the table, and I'm on my phone. Guess what I'm doing? I'm on Twitter. And that went on for at least the 5 years that we've been a show. 14 to 15 hours a day, more on weekends on Twitter. Do you know how much money I made off of Twitter in that time? $0.00. I am working a separate 15-hour-a-day job for $0. It makes me a horrible person.
What about the free publicity that we're getting for the show?
I'm good.
Oh, okay.
I'm absolutely good. We've got a show account that people are entitled to or more than welcome to go comment on. I won't be reading that. I'm done. It made me not a good person. If I was sitting around eating cheesecake for 15 hours a day, sure would taste good, but it's not good for me, man. It's not. The other reason is when I'm in a creative rut, who do I always go back to? I always go back to Howard, always. And it just so happened I listened to, on Thursday, a bit he did with one of his guys who got engaged over the weekend. And he tweeted, "I'm engaged." So Howard comes in, he goes, "I was happy for you for a second, for 1 second. And then I realized, dummy, you've got the Howard Stern Show as your platform. How much money do you make from Twitter?" And he's like, "0." And he's like, "0. You make $0 from Twitter. This is people think it's my show. It's your show.
You wouldn't have
your
followers
anything if it wasn't for this
show."
So I thought to myself, bro, I'm wasting 95% of my good stuff on Twitter every single night. If you are out there and you're listening and you don't like me and you think you ran me off Twitter, you didn't. I ran myself off Twitter. I'm not a good person on it. That was the other part. I don't like who I became on Twitter. If I offended you, I'm sorry. I don't like who I became on Twitter. The gotcha guy, I don't want to be a gotcha guy. I just want to root for this team, report on it, have a good time with my friends. That's what I want to do. If I was a dick to you on Twitter, I apologize. It made me a bad person. It made me a guy I didn't want to be around. But most importantly, it made me a crappy dad and it made me a crappy husband. And in turn, made me a crappy radio host. So when I put it down and I nuked it, I went home. My wife was at the spa for Mother's Day. My kids were in school. I walked into a dark, cold, empty house. I deleted the app from my phone, deleted it from my computer. And I walked around my house and I took a deep breath and I went, all right, you got the whole house. She said, "No, normally a Friday afternoon, Benny, I go to the room, do my business, maybe grab a nap, have some lunch. And then I'm on Twitter until the game starts. I'm on Twitter the entire game. I listened to a 3-hour podcast about a favorite musical artist of mine. I played 2 hours of guitar. I took a nap. I read a book. The best effing day I've had in years.
Good for you.
And it was amazing.
Good for you.
Then the game happened Friday night. Yeah, I was pissed about the game, but it was over in 15 minutes. You know why? Because we had another one tomorrow. Same thing. Rinse and repeat the whole weekend. I was pissed about every game. I was livid. Hannah was yelling at me for yelling at the TV, calling Max Muncy names. But I didn't get into the weeds. I didn't ignore anybody after that. I still got the kids washed and bathed and cuddled and read a book and watched a movie. Like, I played lacrosse with my son in the street. We hit off the tee yesterday after the game. Like, all the things that I literally wasn't doing because I was sitting on my phone acting like a jerk off every single day for 14 to 15 hours a day.
Now, I use Twitter differently than you use.
Yeah.
I spend a lot of time on there, no doubt about it. I'm not gonna argue that I don't. But when I scroll, I'm kind of looking for the news, like what has just happened, to keep me updated, so I know what's going on, and I add that to my my show data. Like, AJ
Sure.
Cassavell just tweeted something.
I've missed some stuff. There's no doubt.
Yeah, definitely. When Woods tweets something, "Oh, look who's here in the game." Yeah, we knew that 7 hours ago. Woods, well, you're not on Twitter, and I feel like I miss that if I'm not scrolling. Now, I'll occasionally like some clever tweets, and I'll retweet some stuff, and even occasionally respond. But I would say 98% of people who tweet at me, they go unresponded to. If you're trying to tweet at me to get a conversation going, that's probably not going to happen. That was more Woods's avenue in terms of the personal interaction. So I'm sorry to the people that aren't getting the the rise out of me and aren't getting the interaction with me, but that's not how I use Twitter.
That's how I used Twitter, and it was not healthy. It just wasn't healthy for me, man. And there were things in my life that I was addicted to. Certainly, you can leave those things at my house now, and I wouldn't touch them. Like I used to drink a lot. I used to drink a lot. I got bottles of whiskey and bottles of vodka and bottles of rum that people have given me, or that I haven't bought a bottle of liquor, Ben, and I can't tell you how long, but I get them as gifts. They sit in the drawer. Why? Because it's not good for me. Every now and then, I'll let myself, like this coming Saturday night, I'm going to see The Cure with our buddy Corey. I'm going to rage. I'm going to have the best time of my life. It's one of my favorite bands, probably the last time I'll ever see them. I'm going nuts on Saturday, right? But it's not something that I do all the time. I have willpower in all those other areas. This is not something I had any willpower. None. I was a constant need for attention, constant need for validation. Our buddy Mike wrote me last night. He goes, I don't get it, man. Why'd you bang Twitter and you kept Instagram? And I said, it's really easy. When I die, when I'm dead and I'm off this planet, my kids can go back through my Instagram like it's a scrapbook. All these memories that we've created. If you go look at my Twitter, not a lot of baseball takes on there. It's my family, or my Instagram. It's my family. That's what my Instagram is. Couple funny memes, but it's my family, because when I'm dead and gone, Bo can sit down, Taylor can sit down and go, okay, this is the day I was born. What did my dad say? What song did he put on here? That to me is rad. I would love to have that. All we have in my house are old picture books, going through the pictures and like, yeah, I remember this time we went to Disneyland in 1985. This is a digital scrapbook that I'm essentially curating for my children. So that's why I kept that on there. As far as Twitter goes, man, it was robbing me of my day and robbing me of being a dad and a good dad. And that's something I take very seriously. So, hey, if you want to beat your chest and think that you ran me off, okay, fine. I'm not a good person on there, and I want to be a better guy, and I want to be a better friend and everything else. So I don't need it. I'm going to do this job without it.
I think that was incredibly well said. In fact, that's the kind of radio segment that I feel people around the country should be writing about this morning. Like, here's what, look at this, listen to what this San Diego radio host said about Twitter and being on social media, and what can we all learn from what he discovered this past weekend after he got off of Twitter.
It's just like, and again, it's not that I don't get mad and passionate. I'm still so passionate about this team, and I love this team, and it's breaking my heart to watch them. And I lost my cool. Did I lose my cool this weekend? Don't picture me as like sitting shirtless, Mr. Zen Master. Now I'm not. I'm still like calling Max Muncy every name in the book yesterday. Like, I'm still screaming at the television. My wife scolded me no less than 20 times this weekend for foul language around the kids while I'm watching the game. I'll work on it. I'm working on it. But even Bo goes, Mom, it's the Dodgers. Just like even Bo gets it. So I'm still so passionate about it, and I'm still so passionate about this job. I hope you guys don't think, oh, Woods is out off of Twitter. He's throwing in the towel. Twitter isn't. I realize I'm lucky. I've got a 4-hour platform where I can give my opinions, and I get paid to do it. I was giving it away for free on Twitter, 15 hours a day. It just didn't make any sense.
You had a good show this morning. Want to hear more about your Mother's Day as well, and we'll have time for that coming up. Obviously,
I think I blew it on Mother's Day.
That's all right. That's all right. I think I've seen the passion I've seen, and obviously it's almost all negative and angry right now. I still love it. I love seeing it from Padres fans, even as mad as you are, as sad as you are right now.
I love it too.
I'm so glad that we have that. I want to talk more about that passion that we are seeing from Padres fans. And obviously we'll go back through 3 games this weekend, just gut punching games against the LA Dodgers. It's the worst case scenario this past week. It's the worst case scenario.
The one thing that cannot happen to a fan base, the one thing that can kill a fan base is apathy. That's the only thing that can kill this fan base. Your passion, it does not go unnoticed by the players, by us who cover the team. Apathy is the only thing. And there are fans in this city that have been apathetic about this team for many, many years, and for good reason. That doesn't exist anymore. Now the players have to figure out how to translate it onto the field. The fan base is still here. The fan base is still here in droves.
It's a grand old Monday. We will talk again with Jake this week from Cespedes Family Barbecue at 8:30 this morning. Jordan's off. He'll be back for the next couple of weeks. We got Jake again. That's absolutely fine. I always look forward to those segments on a Monday. And our own in-season Sammy was up with the enemy this weekend at Dodger Stadium doing all the pre- and post-game shows. We'll get his reaction coming up in our 9 o'clock hour. Until then, all of our regular segments, Take on Woods, Don't Do This, the Daily Ditty, a Ben choice and theme this week when we come back. And then we'll get into our Padres wrap-up. Take some of your phone calls as well. We know you want to be heard this morning. That is absolutely fine. 833-288-0973. We're here for you every single morning, Monday to Friday, 6 to 10 a.m., talking Padres baseball here on San Diego's #1 sports station. Let's get our first check of traffic this morning with Kelly Danick, and then we'll be right back.
I think that has completed the entire Fleetwood Mac Rumors album from Daily Digits. I think we've done
Mostly my choices.
One of the very first ones
I've
I
given
picked.
at least one or two.
Yeah.
It's maybe my favorite album.
Don't
it's the
stop.
best album.
You know, I thought for a second, well, what's going on? It's my pick. I got to come up with a theme. Could do like losing, you know, pick Beck or something like that. Songs about losing. And I thought, why would I do that? Let's go the entirely other direction and let's talk about songs about optimism and positivity and see if we can change the energy ourselves this week. If the Padres aren't going to do it, let's see if we can change the energy in this town a little bit, because it was very negative this weekend.
As it should have been. I mean, as it absolutely should have been. Padre fans have every right to be livid after the performance or or lack thereof this weekend in LA. There will be no sugar coating. I mean, there's not. And you know, just because I'm not in the weeds with you on Twitter arguing about it every single day doesn't mean I'm not pissed. I watched every game intently. You know what else it allowed me to do? I actually got to take some notes on the game and pay attention watching the games, and you know, watching them intently. Geez, it makes you realize just how bad this team is playing right now. I mean, some things that you look at and go, guys, you know, what's actually happening right here? Like just a small example of a note that I took. Blake, why are you nibbling with Tristan Thompson at the plate? He can't hit, and he can't hit lefties. You walk him on 4 pitches, you should be ashamed of yourself. Like, those are some of the notes that I took. Small example there. But yeah, there were so many of those things that happened over the weekend, Ben, the little things. And then they're compounded and compounded and compounded. And it just, I think we're all pretty pissed about how the results turned out.
Yeah, you know, I spent actually a lot of time thinking this weekend about our collective mood as a fan base. And what I came up with is the fact that it hurts because we care. And if it didn't hurt, it wouldn't matter. It wouldn't matter it wouldn't matter last year when the Padres got to the National League Championship Series. It wouldn't have mattered that they beat the Dodgers in the division series if it didn't hurt so much when they lose. And the fact that we care, and that it's painful is what makes sports so great for fans. If we stopped that, if we stopped hurting when they lost, we wouldn't enjoy it when they won. At least not nearly as much. I don't know a sports fan who can go through and say, I am a fan of whatever team, but really I only enjoy it. I watch when they win and it's great and I'm really, really happy. And then when they lose, I don't care and I just turn it off. And I don't know a sports fan who is like that, who, I mean, you can call it a bandwagon fan, but even the bandwagon fans, some of them I feel like hurt more than the long-term fans who have maybe had a little more perspective over the years of all the losing and can weather some lower times. But the reason sports is so great, the reason why we have entire radio stations dedicated to this sole topic is because we care so much and because it hurts when our team doesn't perform well and they lose a bunch of games. And that's okay. And that is okay.
To add to that, yes, everything you said is right. When you, and meaning us, are responsible for, I'm going to be completely raw and honest here. When you, Ben, me, Woods, and you, Paul, along with Carl Ravitch, and along with Tim Kirkjian, and along with Jeff Passan, and along with every mother effing talking head in this country, buy into the hype train, and you start to imagine and let your mind wander what can happen. I remember interviews that we did where I was asking, pitchers, former big league pitchers, all right, man, you have to navigate this lineup. What's that look like? Now is different than it was 7-8 weeks ago. It's different. You're like, I'm going to throw fastballs and I'm probably going to get these guys to roll over or not swing or, ground out weakly somewhere. We bought in. The expectations that we had make it 1,000 times worse. If these are the Hunter Renfroe days and this prospect, Luis Arias and Austin Hedges and Eric Hosmer's, your gritty veteran presence, and those are different. Yeah, hey, let's see if this thing can come together and win something. No, it's supposed to be more, and it's not. And you have egg on your face. I have egg on my face. Carl Ravitch has egg on his face. Jeff Passan has egg on his face. Every talking head that said, oh, they're going to win the division easy. Easy. I mean, the Dodgers are down. They're not spending any money. This is the Padres' time to shine. And then when you see them fumble the pot of chili like Kevin in The Office, it's hard to watch. Can you clean up the chili? Yeah. Is it edible still? Maybe. But we're all watching them fumble it around, and we all have egg on our face. I'm being honest with you. That's how I felt. I go, it's my fault too. I got everybody hyped for this team. Thought that was the right thing to do. Not because I'm a Padres paid employee. In fact, it goes the other way. Padres don't pay me. We pay them. We pay them to broadcast their games. They don't pay me. They can't tell me what to say and what to do. We stroke a check to them. So when you think I'm some Padres...
Manny's pretty much your employee.
Pretty much. Like, Adam Klug could go to go, hey, get it together. What are we paying for? We pay them. They don't pay us. All right? We all have egg on our faces. Fans do too. You bought in. Why wouldn't we?
What would it have sounded like in spring training when we showed up and go, yeah, I know Manny's been top 3 MVP every year, last few years, but I see a hugely down season. I expect Juan Soto to struggle mightily in the first month or two because of the pitch clock. Xander Bogaerts, he was consistent and a great leader in Boston. He'll probably get off to a decent start, but then he's a
Fenway merchant.
He's going to fall off the map, and we're never going to see him. What would that have sounded like in spring training? You would have thought we were the biggest morons in history if that was what we thought in spring training.
And I agree, but we sit here today with egg on our face. We all do. We all have it. And the fans, it's like I tell my wife, when we argue, there's one thing that sets me over the edge. Just one. Don't embarrass me. If you embarrass me, that's when I lose it. And I'm embarrassed. And we're all embarrassed. That's where all of this is coming from. It's embarrassment. We just got bodied again and swept again by the Dodgers.
They're smug fans.
Oh, yeah. It's
just reveling in it again on this Monday morning.
That's what it boils down to, man. We're all embarrassed. If I'm the only media personality in town that will wear it and stand on that island, fine. I said it. I believed it. You know what? I still believe it. I still think they're going to win. Yeah, I do.
You still believe it?
Absolutely. I've got some evidence that Padres fans are not nearly as sour on this team as maybe it's felt like over the last few days.
Vocal minority sometimes.
I will present my case coming up here, and we will get to our Padres wrap-up. We'll start with yesterday's game, go back through the weekend. Just a reminder, if you're tired of hunting for the latest clips about the Padres, or maybe Woods talking about why he got off of Twitter, the Odyssey app can get all the latest clips, podcast episodes. It's all in one place. Just download the app, create an account, search for the teams, shows you care about, and boom, follow them just like that. The latest from your team right on your homepage. Download the Odyssey app today to get started. We'll come back, Padres wrap up, and then some phone calls, 833-288-0973 with Ben and Woods on a Monday morning on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. All guests on Ben and Woods appear on the Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline. Save money the right way with Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Visit them today in the Carlsbad Auto Mall. Chevrolet, find new roads. All right, we'll get to our Padres wrap up. Ryan Weathers getting called up from El Paso to make the start yesterday. Not too bad again from Ryan Weathers. He's acquitted himself well in the big league so far, but again, no offense and especially no hitting with runners in scoring position. The letters RISP are giving me post-traumatic stress disorder right now.
It's an epidemic. I mean, at this point, it is an epidemic. It's a broken record. We have done this show. We've done this show. They've had 21 losses. 21, is that right?
18 and 21 or 19 and 22?
19 and 20. What's the damn record of this team, for the love of God?
19 and 22, I believe.
Confirm it for me.
I will
Confirmed.
confirm.
19 and 22. We've done this show 17 times.
Feels like it.
Literally the same show.
Decent starting pitching, either a quality start or close to it. Padres have chances, especially early, unable to come through, and they end up losing a close game by 1, 2, or 3, maybe 4 runs, as in the case yesterday.
Adam tweeted us last night. He goes, tomorrow should be a lot of fun. Paulie sent the Groundhog Day. I go, it's not even hard. At this point, this is not a difficult show to do. We've done it. We've done it 17 times in 8 weeks or 7 weeks of a baseball season. It's unacceptable. There's another shutout. Another shutout. Leadoff doubles, Ben, where Padres go to die. You better hit a homer because you're not coming in. If you don't, you better swing for the fences, really. And that's our only chance of scoring a run, or some kooky bunt play that gets a run in. This team's not hitting. They're just not hitting. We've done this. It's a broken record right now.
There was also an incident in the dugout from the 9th inning that had Padres fans,
Rankled.
some of you, upset. Rankled is a good word. We'll talk about that as well. All coming up after our Padres wrap up following a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the Premier Auto family, here's Kelly Damick.
Couple of trouble spots here. One is a crash on the Coronado Bridge heading over to the island just past the 5. Several vehicles involved. Also an accident on the College Grove off-ramp, westbound King Freeway. A report of a stalled car southbound 5 near E Street. It's over the right shoulder. And Kelly Damick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
It's a shame if they lose.
You can visit Pity City, but you can't live there.
Did you miss any of the Padres game yesterday?
Oh, it's been a great day today. Can't wait for more.
Oh, God, here we go. Jesus Christ.
Cancel the parade. That's why you play the games.
It's the Padres wrap-up with Ben and Woods.
Slam Diego? More like fail Diego.
Presented by Hamul Casino. With thrilling slots and tables and all the best rewards, Hamul Casino has all the fun you're looking for. Hamul Casino, fun above all else. On 97.3 The Fan.
I just felt the way that the roster is built, they would have to outscore their opponents to win.
Swung on, driven towards left field and deep. Trent Grisham going back. This one is gone. 2-run home run for Mookie Betts, and the Dodgers have a 2-0 lead here in the bottom of the 3rd inning. First pitch to Vargas, swung on, line drive into the left field corner. Freeman is going to score. Max Muncy is being sent. Here comes the throw from Juan Soto. It's not going to be in time, and the Dodgers have a 4-0 lead. The pitch, swing and a miss, strike 3. He got him. That'll do it. Dodgers win the ball game 4-0. Dodgers sweep the Padres 3-0 in this series. A rough road trip for the Friars as they take one game in Minnesota, but they've dropped their last 5 in a row. They'll get on the bus tonight, do some self-introspection, I'm sure, and try to get ready to take on the Kansas City Royals tomorrow.
Sometimes you press a little bit, but again, 5 days ago we were talking about us coming out of this thing, and then we haven't been able to sustain it. So I think until we sustain it, we're not the team that we expect to be.
Padres 0 for 9 yesterday with runners in scoring position after a 1 for 7 on Friday and a 1 for 3 on Saturday. By that way, that one was a dribbler in the infield that moved a runner from second to third, didn't even score anybody. So essentially one productive at-bat this weekend, 3 games with runners in scoring position, and they're batting average now. You may have seen the stat this weekend. I think AJ Cassavell had it. Now hitting 198 with runners in scoring position. 198 below the Mendoza line. And I know that sounds bad, but when you put it in historical context, it really gets awful. It is the worst batting average in the history of Major League Baseball for any team, any year, going really back to the point where they started tracking such statistics.
And it ain't close either.
And it's not particularly
It's like
close.
30 points
They're like
difference.
they're like 20 points below
20?
the lowest batting average in the history of baseball.
And I cannot remember if it was from Kevin Acee or where it came from, but I think it was 4 teams have finished a season
below 220.
Below 220 with runners in scoring position. Padres are now at 198. Of those 4 teams, only like one, they were just under 220. Like one team finished below 217,
Right.
I think. And that's in the history of Major League Baseball.
Yeah, and it's, you know, that's obviously a glaring stat. 20.
Which I think that leads you to believe that you keep hearing regression to the mean, right?
Right.
Like eventually they have to get
Sure.
going in the other direction towards
Because
at least
they're-
average.
Yeah, their overall offensive numbers, while certainly not good, they're kind of in the middle, the bottom of the middle third of baseball.
I got them here. I got OPS. They're 20th in OPS. The Rays, they're at 697. Rays are at 857. 14th with 45 home runs. So the long ball's right there squarely in the middle of the pack. 25th with 154 RBIs. The A's have 153. So we are one better than the A's as far as driving in runs. Rays have a 508 slugging percentage. The Padres are 20th out of 30 at 386. It leads you to a pretty dramatic conclusion. Either you believe that this is some incredibly, incredibly horrible bad luck and execution mixed together, or you think that this team, comprised of Fernando Tatis Jr., Xander Bogaerts, Juan Soto, Manny Machado, Jake Cronenworth, and on and on and on, are the worst baseball team of all time. There's not much middle ground. There's really Nelly Cruz, Matt Carpenter. They're the worst baseball team that's ever been assembled in Major League Baseball. That's not super dramatic to say, and it's not a super reach to say. If you believe that,
No, they have been. If there's a runner standing on second
correct,
and or third,
the worst
They've
that's
been
ever
the
been.
worst that's ever been.
If you believe that that's how the season is going to continue, it's your right to do it. I don't think it will continue that way. It like by the law of averages and science says it cannot continue that way. I don't know the answer. If I knew the answer, my God, I would not be sitting with you two rubes right now. I would be down at the ballpark working on swing plane or whatever the hell it is that doesn't allow, or mental acuity that doesn't allow this, that makes this teams get the tightest butthole of all time when there's a runner on second base or even a runner on third base less than 2 outs. They're not even manufacturing those runs, Ben. That's the thing. The single with a runner in scoring position, yeah, I'd love it. It'd be great. Get the runner in from third with less than 2 outs. That's the one that is just killing me.
Which I think leads us to a topic that got a lot of people upset this weekend.
I'm one of them, by the way.
That was a video, a quick shot of the Padres dugout in the 9th inning, down 4-0. I believe Jake Cronenworth was at the plate.
Jake was behind them, I do believe.
I thought he was batting because Xander Bogaerts was out at second, and there was 1 out because I can see the count. It's 3-2 with 1 out, and Xander is at second. So Jake, I'm pretty sure, is at the plate. He's about to ground out and make second out, but he is at the plate, I believe, when this video was recorded, and it's Fernando Tatis Jr. and Juan Soto, Manny Machado, a couple of others, Rougned Odor. They're kind of talking under their breath. Fernando's kind of laughing. The other guys are smiling a little bit at something funny that happened. And a lot of Padres fans were upset. David said, do you think it's odd that our stars are sitting in the dugout laughing and acting like losing your 5th game in a row is not a big deal? Seidler and Preller should be furious about this. Get a grip and lead this team.
Yeah, swept. You're on the cusp of being swept, barring an absolute miracle. which has not existed for this team this year. There have been no miracles. The wins that we've had, they've not been miracle wins. We've actually, some of the losses we've had have felt like miracles for the other team. I mean, the Josh Hader, Mookie Betts home run, that set this thing in motion, and we have not been able to recover at all. We were a strike away at that point, Benny. It's such a bad look. It's such a bad look. It's such a bad look. It's a terrible, terrible, terrible look. Perception, a lot of times, is reality. And you have to know that there is a camera on you at all times. And it's such a long season. Every baseball player we've ever talked to has said, it's such a grind, man. It's such a grind. Sometimes you have to laugh to keep from crying. Sometimes you have to smile to keep from crying. I get all that. But it's such a bad look. It's such a bad look. And here's I think the biggest bummer for me. You're talking about a 23-year-old, a 24-year-old, and Rougned Odor. I thought he was 45 years old. He's 29 years old. My biggest problem was sandwiched in between them is Manny Machado leaning over the wall and Nelly Cruz right behind him. They're basically in a leader sandwich there. The three other guys, Odor, Tatis, Soto, are smashed in front of two leaders on either side. Supposed to be vocal clubhouse leaders. Manny kind of turned and smiled. He wasn't yucking it up and, juggling on a unicycle, but you got to shut that down, in my opinion. It's stupid. It's a bad look. It doesn't make sense. I can also believe that it's a long season. They're probably sometimes when I use humor a lot when I'm in pain. I don't know that that's what they were doing. Looked like they were having a good time, but it just, you got to know a camera's on you, and it's just a bad look, and the fans are going to turn on you for crap like that.
Here's the counter argument, and I was watching the start of the third season of Ted Lasso this weekend, and in, I think, the first or second episode, takes the team down into the sewer to try to tell them, stop listening to the noise out there. Just let it,
it's all S.
Just let it flow.
Let the S flow.
It's all poopy, he says, and just let it flow. And it was one of the lessons he's trying to teach his team. We just heard Bob Melvin in our Padres wrap up saying, I think we're probably pressing too much. When your team is pressing, you kind of want to go like Ted Lasso, like, relax, guys, try to have some fun.
So much easier said than done.
Instead of squeezing and being so upset all the time. Is that what we want to see from the team? Is maybe a little more lightheartedness, a little more?
No, I don't
happiness.
think so. I don't think that's.
But if the problem is that they're pressing, then having them just be upset and mad all the time is the last thing that is going to get them out of that. Correct? Go up there, relax at the plate. Stop squeezing so tight. Stop thinking that if we lose again, it's the sixth straight and it's just going to get worse and we're going to hear even more criticism from the fans. Stop worrying about that. And go out and play baseball.
And
Fernando Tatis Jr. has always played his best baseball when
he's loose.
When he's loose, when
Always.
he's smiling, when he's having fun, when he's interacting with the crowd, when he's dancing. So you're telling them when the Padres are playing their worst, though, get away from what made you successful. Go away from all that fun and dancing and smiling and start really grinding and working hard, because that's what's going to get you out of it. It really doesn't make sense when you think about it.
Bro, do that in the clubhouse. Play grab ass in the clubhouse, right? Like it doesn't mean they don't care. I'm not of the opinion that they're not trying, and I'm not of the opinion that they got their bag and they're mailing it in. I'm not of the. Fernando got 2 surgeries to come back. He's playing well. Rougned Odor, I don't know, nor do I really care. Juan Soto is a character. He's a character. He's going to be him. Manny got 5 hours of treatment to be able to play every day last year and post. So you get a little bit of leeway. But Manny and Nelly are the ones that they got to shut that down. Hey, guys, now's not the time. Do it in the clubhouse. Stay loose in the clubhouse. Stay loose on the plane. Nobody's going to bitch at you for that, right? No one's going to say, why? Because what we don't know won't hurt us. If they're in the clubhouse last night, been doing cartwheels, yeah, Bob Melvin may be mad, but we don't see it. It's just a bad look. It's bad perception. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that they don't care. I'm not saying that they hate the Padre fan base. I'm not saying they're trying to get their paycheck and cut, because we do know about the work. There have been guys here that got a paycheck and didn't care. I've seen them. I know 2 of them off the top of my head that got their money or like, I don't care. I'm going to try to get my numbers. If I don't, great. These guys are working their tails off. You know that. I know people that have said, no, man, they're trying to be better, but it's just a bad look. I think both things can be true, right? It's a bad look. It didn't sit well with me, and it didn't sit well with a lot of fans.
But a good look doesn't win games.
No, a good look does not win games. It does not. You want
and a bad look doesn't lose games.
Correct. Their game was already lost.
One thing has nothing to do with another. If you are in charge of PR for the Padres, then yeah, that's probably not something you love to see. If you're Bob Melvin and you're in charge of winning games for the Padres, it might be something you actually do want to see.
I disagree.
Because that's what you feel like your club is struggling with right now, is staying loose and having fun with the game. So 2 different topics in my mind.
I don't know. I mean, it's just not the right time for it. It's just not the right time for it, in my opinion. That's just my opinion.
It's weird. I'm right in the middle.
It's like it's hard because you're like it's
like I don't ever want to see Tatis not smiling. Correct. That means he's not being himself.
Correct. He's a big one. Like he's kind of a big one.
But I can't say anyone's wrong for being upset.
And he was the one who was the most smiley of everyone in that video.
Let's raise our hand if we've seen, in the collective you out there listening, have we ever seen Tatis mope and salt? Yeah.
Yes, we have.
I didn't like it.
Hands are shooting up across San Diego right now. We've all seen it. I never want to see it again. So that's part of it, certainly. But when the camera goes to you and you're
they also don't know the camera's on.
Oh, well, I get it, but you have to be aware. I have a camera on me right now. You don't see my finger up my nose.
I got to take on Woods, talk about Saturday's game as well through 40 of the season next on The Fan. Be right back.
Get down. Is losing fun? Is losing fun?
No.
No. What are you having fun for?
The best.
That's what losing sounds like.
Absolutely fair enough.
It's a very good movie. It is a movie. It's not.
It is
real life. I mean,
It is.
based on a real story.
Well, listen, you've seen there's a great real life example that we get to watch almost every day in Major League Baseball going on right now. St. Louis is a really good example of what good can happen when you air out your players publicly and you have your GM questioning trades publicly and your manager screaming at people publicly. You can be 10 games below 500. That's what you're seeing right now in St. Louis.
Playing a little better last few days. Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah.
But, definitely up against it certainly. But that's the flip side to that coin is that those managers exist in baseball today. They really, really do. I don't know, man. It's hard. I do believe that I know that when I saw that yesterday, I went, that's unacceptable. That's piss poor. You can't have it. And it just can't happen. Behind closed doors, completely. I feel the same way, by the way. I feel the exact same way. If Bob Melvin wanted to air somebody out, I feel if Manny and Toddy wanted to scream at each other, I do feel the exact same way. That also should be happening down behind closed doors as well.
I mean, Bob Melvin did go somewhat public last week in Minnesota.
Well,
it didn't turn the team around by any stretch of the imagination.
Paulie and I were talking about it before you got here, Benny. Paulie had a really, really astute take. Paulie said, did he play that card too early? And I said, you know what? I think he did. I think he played it just a hair too early, maybe 3 games too early.
Yeah.
Maybe today was the day.
Yeah, right. We could be playing our best baseball and still lose 2 out of 3. Even
to the Dodgers.
By the Dodgers on the road.
It's happening.
They're a good team.
They're a good team. They got good pitching. They got good bullpen. They got guys that can hit.
Now the way they played this weekend was not good. The Padres.
They've owned you. They've owned you since 2010.
Right.
So again, did you pull the old ace out 3 days early?
If the idea is to look like a managerial genius, then yes, I take a look at the schedule and I go,
ooh, the Royals.
The Royals are coming in. I'm going to give my big speech on Sunday.
If we lose bad
on
Sunday,
after the Dodger game, and then when they come and win a few games, I'm going to look like I am the best manager in history. Bob Melvin doesn't care about looking like a smart manager.
Does not.
He doesn't care about really what the fans are saying. Marco chimes in on Twitter at Ben and Woods. No issues with the boys smiling just because our fans are in their fields, living the extremes of every up and down in a 162-plus game season. Doesn't mean the Padres need to as well. I'd rather they stay level. They will be fine. That was Marco's take.
It's a very, very astute take. And again, I do believe both things can be true. I hated to see it. It's not a good look. But also, in the grand scheme, if you win today, it's forgotten. You came out and you won the ball game. That's all you can do is go 1-0 every day. That's it. That's the only thing they can do at this point. I saw people yesterday. We need to sweep the Royals. You don't. You need to win today's game. That's what you cannot look 1 second ahead. The only guy that should be looking ahead is Bob Melvin and how he plans to utilize this bullpen. And tonight, if I'm Bob Melvin, no BS, Ben. Tonight is Game 7 of the World Series. I'm winning this game by any means necessary. I'll worry about tomorrow and then the next day. We got an off day coming up this week.
Thursday.
I'm going to blow it out to win this game tonight.
You got 3 at home against Kansas City, off day on Thursday, 3 at home against the Red Sox, and then an off day on Monday before.
I'm blowing it. Tonight is Game 7. If I'm Bob Melvin,
Michael Wacha on the mound, who's been pitching well.
I thought it was Lugo tonight. Is it Wacha?
No, Lugo. You're right. Lugo on the mound, who also been pitching well against a guy with 7.7 ERA.
Right. I'm blowing it out tonight, man. I am absolutely.
You'd like to think they could win tonight.
No off days for anybody. We're not getting anybody off their feet. Tonight is Game 7. You win this effing game. Stop this skid now. If it's Josh Hader for 5 batters, I don't care. I want this game. You have to win this game. You got to get that taste out of your mouth.
It's Ben and Woods here, hour number 2 on 97.3 The Fan. Need a contestant for Take on Woods here in a couple of minutes. If you want to try to qualify for our Vegas getaway, Take on Woods in our daily musical trivia challenge, 833-288-0973. No one on the line right now, so you can call 833-288-0973. Just quickly on Saturday's game, Padres losing 4-2. Julio Urias has owned this team. Even beat him in the playoffs last year, the one Dodgers pitcher to do so in game 1 of that series. I think he's like 9-0 against the Padres now. He's on an incredible run. Yet they could have won that game as well. They got a couple of early home runs by Juan Soto and Ha-Seong Kim. The difference was one play really in the first inning when Adam Engel took a bad break, let a ball bloop in front of him, and then a bad pitch by Joe Musgrove to J.D. Martinez resulted in a 3-run home run in a game the Padres lost 4-2 instead of winning 2-1. Emblematic of what's been going on lately, where it's one thing, turn around one thing, and you can easily change a Padres loss into a victory in almost all of these games that they've lost this season.
Yeah, no doubt. It was
literally yesterday was one of their ugliest losses in the last month. And it was only by 4. I mean, they were still in slam range. They had a chance to come back in the last inning. They got one more base runner on. All of a sudden, the tie runs in the on-deck circle in the 9th inning. That was what was considered a blowout loss for the Padres right now.
Yep.
By 4 runs. They could have beaten Urias, which is always something that would be great. You have to win a close game. If you're going to beat a guy like that, probably going to be like 2-1, 1-0, 3-2. It's not going to be 8-1 against Julio Urias. He's a really good pitcher, and especially against your team. Had a chance, let that opportunity get away on Saturday.
Just 5 hits, though. Again, 5 hits, just not hitting. It's the same. It's a broken record.
So I do want to point out, because that was the 40th game of the season on Saturday.
That's let's stop down, evaluate where we are.
Padres were 19-21 after that game. Obviously, they lost yesterday as well.
So the 40-game mark is 19-21.
40-game mark to take stock. I will point out, and this was a tweet from Chiron Bob, who did all the Padres graphics and stuff for a long time. Said the records of postseason teams last year through 40 games. The Phillies went to the World Series, 18-22. The Mariners, who won a wild card in the American League West, 17-23. Guardians, who won the American League Central, 18-22. The Braves, who ended up winning 101 games and winning the National League East, 19-21, just where the Padres were at the 40-game mark last season. They were 19-21. They went on to win 101 games last season. So it is possible to turn things around, even after a poor to mediocre 40-game start. You have to play very well after that, especially to win 100 games at this point. I mean, think about that. The Braves had to go 82-40 the rest of the way to win 101 games. They had to win 2 out of every 3 the rest of the way. But the Padres, if they won 2 out of every 3 the rest of the way, they would also win 100 games.
You wanted to
this season.
You wanted to grind out until you got to the quote unquote soft part of the schedule, and there's some tough ones in there, but this is now you are in the soft part of your schedule, starting with tonight's game against the Kansas City Royals. You got to win this ball game tonight. You got to win it. You got to stop the skid. Whatever you got to do.
Did I miss something? Did Bob say it's Lugo? Because everything I'm seeing says Waka.
I thought it was Lugo tonight.
I thought it was Waka actually too.
Maybe it's Waka.
Yeah, and then Lugo tomorrow because they pushed Waka back.
Okay,
from yesterday,
and Waka's been pitching good. Look, when he's out there, you got to play good defense. And you got to hit off a guy with a 7.7 ERA. You just do. You have to impose your will on a guy. They have not been imposing their will at all. There's no time like the present. Tonight is 1-0, and you do whatever you got to do. If Waka struggles, bang him out. Nick Martinez, give us 5. Blow it up. Whatever you got to do, man, to get through this game and get that taste out of your mouth, because it's it tastes like we chewed on an aspirin is what it feels like watching this team right now. It's just bitter. It's bitter, and they're better than that. So tonight it starts. If I'm those guys, I'm fired up for tonight. I'm coming out and I am trying to impose my will on the lowly Kansas City Royals, who, by the way, I think only have 4 fewer losses or 4 fewer wins than the Padres do. Doesn't matter. You're better. You're more talented. Go act like it. That's it. That's it.
All right, we'll have more Padres talk coming up, including some perspective from the fans who may not be as panicked right now. They exist. They're just a little bit quieter than the ones that we hear from often on social media. Right now, though, let's get to our first game of the week. It is time to play Take on Woods. All right, we got Jose is our first contestant this week on Take on Woods. Good morning, Jose.
Hey, good morning.
All right, here's what you're playing for. You can beat or tie Woods and qualify for a 2-night getaway to the Westgate Las Vegas Resort and Casino, plus tickets to Little River Band. Hits from the 70s and 80s. They're going to be performing in concert at the International Theater at the Westgate Las Vegas Resort and Casino on August 5th this summer. Now, we've got a special week this week. You're our first contestant in a theme week on Take on Woods. Here's the theme. Every single answer this week will end in the word love. Every category is called It Ends in Love. However, Jose, as the person going first, you get to choose the era because we have It Ends in Love oldies, It Ends in Love 1980s, It Ends in Love 1990s, and It Ends in Love post 2000, because I lump every song after the year 2000 into one big group. Like 2001's no difference than 2022 to me. It's all new music at this point, which is weird because like 1985 and 1965 seem very different to me, but 2002 and 2020 pretty much the same thing for an old guy like me. So Jose, the category is It Ends in Love, but which era would you like to play today?
Let's do 2000.
2000. All right, he's going with the new stuff. This is definitely the hardest one for me and probably the toughest one for Woods, but we'll see how Jose does.
Smart guy.
5 questions. All of the song titles will end in the word love, and all 5 songs will have been recorded since the year 2000. If you don't know an answer, say pass. We'll come back to it if there's time left on the clock. We'll start with our 2-second song. You need to give me both the title of the song, Ending in Love, and the artist to score that point. So, Jose, you ready to play?
Yes, sir.
All right, 60 seconds on the clock. The category, as it will be every day this week, It Ends in Love, post-2000 edition. Your time begins when Paul plays the music. Good luck, Jose. Let's take on Woods.
I know it's Rihanna, but I don't know the fun fact.
All right, hold on. An early Maroon 5 hit, which Adam Levine breakup song, includes lyrics like, she said goodbye too many times before. Beyonce teamed up with future husband Jay-Z on a 2003 hit that climbed to the top of the charts.
Fast.
All right, Lady Gaga returned to her dance pop roots with which 2020 hit from her Chromatica album? Keep moving. Come on.
10 seconds.
Which song did U2 release in 2013 as a tribute to South African leader Nelson Mandela? Not tough for him as well. I don't know. I mean, I assume Woods is going to get one of these. Let me give you the answers before we go on. It was Rihanna. You get a half point there. It was We Found Love by Rihanna. This Love by Maroon 5. Crazy in Love, Beyonce and Jay-Z. Stupid Love, Lady Gaga. And Ordinary Love by U2. So, no, that's the category. That was I think that's the toughest one of the week. That's my personal feeling. We'll see how Woods does. Now, he doesn't get the category, so we'll see how he does with the same 5 questions, the same 60 seconds. Reset our 2-second song. Woods, your time begins when Paul plays the music. Good luck. Let's take on Jose.
Pass.
An early Maroon 5 hit, which Adam Levine breakup song, includes lyrics like, she said goodbye too many times before.
She said goodbye too many times. Pass.
Beyonce teamed up with future husband Jay-Z on which 2003 hit that climbed to the top of the charts?
Bonnie and Clyde.
Incorrect. Lady Gaga returned to her dance pop roots with which 2020 hit from her Chromatica album?
Pass.
Which song did U2 release in 2013 as a tribute to South African leader Nelson Mandela?
Oh my god.
Yeah, nothing.
Nothing
Zero.
at all. Zero.
What is this?
The 2-second song.
I know. What is it? I don't know. I'm out.
Time is up.
I don't know
All
none
my
of these.
God.
We have a history.
Is that is first?
Is that 0-0?
Yeah, it was a 0-0 game.
0-0 tie.
That's that. You know what, Jose? Stay on the line. I
Wow.
guess you qualify thanks to Woods' inability to get a single one. I knew it was a tough category. It was.
What was the category?
It ends in
turds,
love.
big turds.
It was "We Found Love" by Rihanna. "This Love" by Maroon 5. I thought that was the one you might get.
This love has taken a hold.
"Crazy in Love" by Beyonce and
I like
Jay-Z.
that song too.
"Stupid Love" by Lady Gaga, and "Ordinary Love" by U2, about Nelson Mandela. All of those songs coming from the year 2000 and on as well.
That was
amazing.
awful.
It's never
Bit
happened in the history of Take on
excruciating.
Woods. I guess I got to make the questions a little bit easier now going forward.
You
They've
know,
gotten too tough.
That pop music is really my sweet spot.
It's like the Tournament of Champions in Jeopardy when the questions get really tough, like they've been doing with Ken Jennings.
I just took an offer, and I'm not laughing.
Oh, you're not?
I'm not happy about it.
This is what losing sounds like.
This is what losing.
Paul, what does losing sound like,
this
everybody?
is what losing sounds like. Right here. He does this all the time. Let him know.
Get down. Is losing fun? Is losing fun?
No, it's not.
What are you having fun for?
I'm not having fun. I'm actually pissed.
It's the sound of Take on Woods this morning.
Yes, livid. Actually, it's a terrible representation.
That's what losing sounds like.
That's right. That's how I feel. Billy Bean's right, and I'm right.
All right, we'll come back with a little "Don't Do This" just to break things up. I think we better talk about Ja Morant.
He's rocketing up to the Mount Rushmore. We may have another. May bump somebody off.
I mean, it's really stunning when it comes.
What are you doing?
Really
dude?
stunning.
On, bro.
With the Ja Morant news this weekend.
Figure it out, my man.
We'll get that coming up after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
Also, got to ring the misogyny bell. Happened last night.
It's time for Don't Do This.
What were you thinking?
3 stories from the world of sports that make us all shake our heads.
Why? How many times do I have to tell you?
I'm sorry, I fudged up, guys.
You idiot. You moron.
Dumbass.
The apple sometimes does fall from the tree.
Don't do this
Do not tweet that.
with Ben and Woods
I like a Nickelback song or two.
on 97.3 The Fan.
Well, guess I'm Ben Woods. Appear on the Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline. Save money the right way with Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Visit them today in the Carlsbad Auto Mall. Chevrolet Fine New Road. Cespedes Family Barbecue Monday. Jake going to be with us in just over an hour. Right now, though, don't do this time. And Woodsy, you can get us started.
I don't know if you guys were watching Sunday Night Baseball last night. I had it on.
I had it on. I didn't have the sound up very much. I was working.
Yeah, I mean, Mother's Day, a lot of special moments. We're actually going to play a really sweet and special moment in Do This. But David Cohn stepped in a little bit. Paulie, do you have the misogyny bell sound effect? Yep. You'll hear, if my wife was the producer, you would have heard that in the background of this.
That would be so cool.
Wouldn't that be great
Yeah.
to have her just a ding-a-ling ringing it on you?
ESPN Sunday Night Baseball producer Hannah Nankara Woods.
Yeah, the misogyny bell ringer.
Anytime John Smoltz or David Cohn or anyone said something.
Yeah.
So they were talking about
Sexist.
PitchCom and how wouldn't it be funny if you could change the
Yeah,
voices?
put the
and
voice, any
who
voice
would you
want.
have? And they're Samuel L. Jackson.
Jack Flaherty. I think Jack Flaherty said he would like John Hamm, who's a big
that's where
St.
it
Louis
started.
Cardinals fan. So here's the audio.
To win a round. With a woman's voice in there, would that?
That would be sort of, I think this is a good pitch, maybe, you know?
Uh-oh.
On Mother's Day.
Yes.
Oh. Oh, no. He knew it.
It was his take that women are like indecisive, so
yeah.
they'd have trouble picking the right pitch.
That's
Committing
exactly
to it.
what he was saying.
I feel like I'm indecisive.
I mean, if you had, that's the conversation that we have about 4:00 every night. What do you want for dinner? I don't know. What do you want? It's me too. I'm as indecisive. But he got dragged a little bit. He's like, David, it's and you heard his co-host on Mother's Day. Gonna drag the women for being indecisive about what pitch to
You know
throw.
the right pitchcom voice? Someone who enunciates clearly and is easily understood. Male, female, doesn't matter.
The whole pitchcom thing still makes me laugh every time. It kills me.
You know what didn't make Don't Do This? There was a pitchcom, basically a
What we all
college
feared.
JUCO team.
What we all feared would happen.
basically pitchcom devices in their players' helmets, their batters, and then had someone signaling the catcher's signals. And they got caught because the volume was too loud.
Too high.
When it was out in the base paths. And the guy said, why am I hearing what our pitches are out of your helmets?
Why am I hearing
while you're
fastball?
running the bases?
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah. And the coach had to resign. That wasn't my Don't Do This story. Mine goes to the one and only Ja Morant, all-star guard for the Memphis Grizzlies. You might remember it was, I don't know, 5-6 years ago. No, it was 2 months ago.
Right.
That he was suspended for 8 games, I believe, by the NBA.
Was.
After a video showed him brandishing a gun, holding it around at a nightclub in Denver while he was intoxicated.
This was 2 months ago today.
Right. 2 months ago today. Happy anniversary.
Yeah, happy anniversary.
So when another video on Saturday night showing the Star Guard holding a gun began circulating on social media, you can imagine the reaction was very swift. The Memphis Grizzlies suspended Ja Morant yesterday pending an investigation. And I know there's been some blowback, from people who go, hey, it's the off season. Hey, it's not illegal to have a gun. You're being too hard on Ja Morant. I don't care what the infraction was. If the infraction was putting chewing gum under a table and you got reprimanded and had to go to counseling for it and you got run through the ringer in the media and you went on an apology tour less than 2 months ago, if you do that same thing, whatever it is, within 2 months, again, you've got serious issues. I mean, serious
What does an
issues.
off-season suspension look like?
I don't know. I have no
I
idea.
mean, I've heard the talk of the first half of next season, like 41 games.
Damn, dude.
More.
Just for that.
I mean,
It's just such a dumb
What
mistake.
gets the message across
Right.
at some point?
But he said back in March, 2 months ago, it's not who I am. I don't condone it or any type of violence. I take full responsibility for my actions. I made a bad mistake. I can see the image I painted over myself with my recent mistakes. But in the future, I'm going to show everybody who Ja really is, what I'm about, and change this narrative that everybody got. He basically said, too, to the commissioner, I didn't know what I had to lose, and now I do. Well, this is 2 months later, and he's waving a gun around on Instagram. And it's, again, we talked earlier about terrible looks. You have the right to own a gun, but it also, the NBA has a right to say that's not something we want to see from our players. If Ja Morant's at a shooting range, shooting targets, no
on
problem.
social media, fine.
No problem.
Fine.
Have a ball. Like,
if he steps in, if there's like an armed robbery taking place,
And
and he saves people
Yes.
with his gun,
no problem.
Fine, it's fine. When
Yeah.
you're just waving it around as part of a clout chasing social media video, that's a big problem. And this is, I mean, there were other things as well. There was the high school prospect who's suing him after getting beaten up by him and his friend
There was
allegedly at a pickup game.
There was his crew that confronted members of the Pacers traveling party. I mean, it's getting edgy.
There was the laser pointer from an SUV in which he was riding, like a Target site incident. I mean, it's just on and on and on.
Life is getting edgy for Ja Morant, and you don't want to live an edgy life. If you are one of the best players in the NBA and your team needs you desperately, and your career, man, is hanging on the precipice right now, and you keep doing dumb stuff, and we're pulling for you, man. But you got to get your head out of your rear end right now if you're Ja Morant. And then finally on Doo-Doo, this
DD Mega Doo-Doo.
Man, very, very sweet moment last night on Sunday Night Baseball. Not the David Cohn misogyny bell. Another sweet moment. They were talking to Lars Nootbaar about, his mom and what how she helped him get to where he is. And they had a little surprise for
Looks like
Lars.
this is recorded before the game.
Yeah.
Because he's in the booth.
Yeah.
Lars Nootbaar's in the booth with Eduardo Perez. And while he's talking about his mom for the visual, she pops up on camera.
Yep, little
How
surprise.
important is she to who you are?
Yeah, she's everything to me. There's my mom right there, man. She's everything. She's everything to me, really. She's my rock. She's my everything. She's my best friend. And is this live right now?
This is live right now.
Oh my gosh, you get me emotional, man. How's it going?
How's it
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I don't know why I'm getting emotional right now, man.
Thank you for the flower. Special
Absolutely.
delivery.
Thanks for everything.
Oh yeah.
I love you, baby.
I love you too.
You can see the
man. You guys are messing me up, man. That's my best friend. You guys are doing this to me, man.
He's a crier. He cries a lot.
I only get emotional when I see her. That's. I love you, Mom.
Oh, it just killed me yesterday. Very, very sweet moment. I like how he turned into a 16-year-old teenager whose mom's picking him up from school, though. He's like, how you doing? Good. Like he's trying to do everything he can to,
Oh my gosh.
to suppress the tears. Hey,
You
how's
be
it
emotional,
going?
man.
How's it going?
How's it going?
Good.
How's it going?
How you doing?
How you doing?
By the way, 3 hits, 2 doubles, 3 runs scored,
Yep.
hitting over 300. And,
Yep.
Cardinals won the game 9-1 to complete a sweep.
Look at that. Cardinals
of the
are-
Boston Red Sox.
They're back.
By the way, the Red Sox who are coming to Petco Park this week, the Royals also were swept this weekend by the Brewers. So the Padres getting a homestand against 2 teams that were both swept this weekend.
Pressure's
Padres,
up.
of course, were
Pressure's
also swept this
ratcheted
weekend.
up.
Someone's getting healthy this week at Petco Park. Is it the Padres or will it be the Royals and the Red Sox?
It better not be the Royals and the Red Sox.
Don't and do this for a Monday.
That was Don't Do This with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, we do want to hear from some Padres fans. I know I've said that before. I want to get some phone calls. 833-288-0973. Haven't talked about Friday night's game. Blake Snell on the mound in the series opener, and one that it looked like the Padres might turn it around, come from behind.
Wasn't that the most fun 45 seconds you guys have had this season? That was the most fun 45 seconds of the Padres season I've had.
I called it.
It was so fleeting.
I'll tell you what happened when I was watching the game with my son on Friday night as well. That is coming up next with Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
What the hell is happening right
Got a
now?
glitch in the matrix right now for everyone who feels like we're living in some giant simulation. And I know Padres fans probably feel like,
what the hell is
what's
this?
going on this last week? If you subscribe to the MLB app to get notifications on the Padres, we all just got this one. It was a final score alert, a linking to the box score, but not yesterday's game. This was, and
Not
I
a
just
game
did
from
some
earlier
quick,
this year.
I just did some quick Googling. So it says Braves at Padres.
Yeah.
Oh no, I just got another one from an Expos Padres game. So it's old. This game was
Fred Norman sucks.
I
He
just did
lost
some
that game.
Googling.
I'm
Yeah.
so sick of watching Fred Norman pitch.
This is
he
from
just nibbles.
July 31st, 1971, when the Braves scored single runs in the 4th, 7th, and 8th to erase a 2-0 first inning deficit and beat the Padres 3-2. Tom Kelly beating Fred Norman, who fell to 1-7. Jim Nash got his first save in that game. I don't know why we're getting alerts for that.
One. Yeah, Montreal improved to 50 and 71 as they beat the Padres 4-3.
They just bringing up every loss we've ever had.
Freaking
To just
Fred Norman gave up an RBI triple to Rusty Staub in the first inning.
Rusty Staub. Holy crap! Talk about a blast from the past.
What?
We got some glitches going on in the MLB system right now.
My wife put in the chat, "We're losing even when we're sleeping." Yeah, they're bringing. Hey, I know things are hard, Padre fans. Here's every loss you've ever had. Just we want to remind you about every single loss that you've ever had as an organization. Things are bad enough.
52
MLB
years ago,
man.
Typically at this time in the morning, it'd be some like, oh, power rankings are out. Click here to view. And I look down and I go, Braves beat the Padres. I go, who the hell is Fred Norman?
Not really it's not a bit. We're not pulling off anything. We all just got that alert on our phones.
Yeah, that's a weird one. That very strange.
We have more recent losses to discuss.
Yes. Let's go to the
including a Friday night
awful Friday night.
We will
loss.
get to that right after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the Premier Auto family, here's Kelly Danick.
Got a collision on westbound King Freeway. This is near the 805. Motorcycle involved. Looks like they've got the two left lanes blocked. Also, a collision clearing on southbound side of the 15 near Via Rancho Parkway. Everything over to the right shoulder. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
So, yeah, on Friday night, a pretty crazy thing actually happened to me while watching the game. Padres, of course, were down 2-0 most of the way. Blake Snell was on the mound again against Dustin May. But in the 7th inning, Ha-Seong Kim was up with runners, I believe, at first and second base. And I just had a feeling, I never do this. I'm watching the game with my son at home, and I turned to him and I said, I don't know, I have a feeling Ha-Seong Kim is going to rope a double right down the left field line. I know it's going to score one. I'm not sure if Rougned Odor is going to score from first base. I just had a really strong feeling just come to me at that moment. And lo and behold, about 15 seconds later, I don't think it was the next pitch, but it was like 2 pitches later. That's exactly what happened. And Odor just barely got in front of the throw at home plate, and the Padres had tied the game at 2. And not even sure why I thought it. I know I had noted in my mind that Ha-Seong Kim had actually pulled a couple of balls. He's looked better lately. In May, he's had a sneaky good month of May at the plate. He's looking better at the plate lately. And I don't know, some inspiration just came to me. I wish I could have predicted better things after that, of course, because of the good feelings, as Wood said, lasted about 45 seconds in that game until the Dodgers came up in the bottom of the 7th inning against Tim Hill.
2 home runs, Betts and Freeman. Mookie Betts absolutely owns the San Diego Padres, and they were talking about it yesterday. Doesn't get a lot of hits against the Padres. They're all for extra bases, every single one of them. He has been the Padre killer this season. I mean, the shot off a hater murdered our souls.
Freddie Freeman's had his moments too.
Yeah, but Mookie has been all that you'd ask for. Now that's what a superstar looks like, Nando. Wise words, I guess, from Eddie Perez last week. Brutal game. To get that momentum back in your favor. Great AB by Ha-Seong Kim. And let's talk about Blake Snell for a second. At the end of the day, when you look at the final line, damn fine start for Blake Snell. Got through 6 innings, 100 pitches, I think, on the nose. It's the frustrating parts when you watch Blake Snell when he walks when he walks Trace Thompson, who, by the way, cannot hit lefties. Dodger fans were upset that he's in the lineup even. He just can't hit lefties. And Snell walks him on 4 pitches. All that does basically ratchets up the intensity, more pitches that you have to throw. Walks continue to hurt Blake.
I mean,
but again,
you can call it nibbling. I think with Blake, it's more he just gets out of whack at certain points in his start and loses the plate a little bit. Not because he's trying to be too fine, but for whatever mechanically, for just like a couple of minutes, it just kind of loses
it. Yeah.
Otherwise, he was really good again. I mean,
6
really
innings,
terrific.
2 runs, and that was that. But yeah, Ha-Seong Kim, huge knock. Timmy Hill, I love Timmy Hill. I felt terrible for him. It's 2 really bad pitches to 2 really good hitters, and that's going to get you every time.
Got some more updates from the past on
the MLB app is
let's see. The Reds beat the Padres 4-1. Don Gullett over Clay Kirby. We've got the Astros beat the Padres 2-1. Bill Grief over Gary Ross, and the Astros beat the Padres beat the Astros 5-4. Dave Roberts, not the Dodgers manager.
I love
Dave
winning, man. I love winning.
But
you know what I'm saying? It's like better than losing.
70s pitcher Dave Roberts got his 14th win, beating Fred Gladding in that game 5-4.
Yeah, this does nothing for me at all. I'm like livid that you guys are talking about it still. We have a team that is horrible right now. Horrible. Let's talk about how bad they were, Ben. I heard we need to hold them accountable. We weren't holding them accountable enough. Right? I heard that. That's what I heard a lot of.
I just heard a promo, one of our hosts holding them incredibly accountable.
I heard that segment. I was
week.
listening to that segment last week, and Chris Ello held them accountable. And
did he?
Then he did. Well, then they lost 3 games in a row after that.
Bob Melvin tried to hold them accountable.
Lost 3 games in a row.
They lost more games as well.
No joke, though. Friday night's game. Or no, that was Sunday. The series. Let's talk about the series. Manny Machado, Jake Cronenworth. I love you both. I love you both. You got to get it going. You got to. Manny had a horrific series. Not only getting out, but like double plays, like grounding into double plays to just kill any sort of rally. I don't know what's going on with him. I love him. I believe in him. I know he can go on a streak. This isn't me in here telling you, hey, when Will Myers gets hot, he's one of the hottest hitters in baseball. It's not Will Myers. Manny Machado is light years above Will Myers. Not to take a shot at Will Myers. They're different players. When Manny gets going, when he's hot, he gets white hot. We've absolutely seen it 1,000 times. Tonight's the night. You got to get it going. There's just no more. There's no more excuses for this.
You know, it's funny because he looked like he was starting to come around.
He was hitting it hard.
And then that week or so ago.
He was what, 1 for 20 in the series? Or no?
No, he was 0 for the series.
0 for the series. It's so frustrating. It's so frustrating.
He's been especially bad this season when Fernando Tatis Jr. has been on base.
Get on
ahead
base.
Of him.
Yep.
It's really one of the main reasons why the Padres have been so bad with runners in scoring position is when Nando gets on, usually finds a way to get to second or third, whether it's just running the bases, stolen bases, or just advancing on grounders or double off the bat. He does a lot of that. I think I saw lately, Manny's like 2 for 19 or something when Fernando Tatis Jr. is on base ahead of him.
I'm telling you, man, it's a tough watch. It is a tough watch right now. And we can talk about his comments after the game too. You know, I didn't really take exception to his comments. Like, we're trying to win a ball game. We're going to try to win a ball game tomorrow night. If we don't win, you know, it is what it is. That's Manny. That if you've covered Manny, and we have for 5 years, every game he's played, that's him. Like, he's not going to panic. He never panics. He never does. Never. I think people want to see him panic a little bit more. The way that Manny gets out of a panic mode is by lacing gaps, balls into the gap. That's how he gets out of it.
I thought it was interesting that he changed up his pants yesterday.
Yeah, and he goes, I'm going back.
I haven't seen a ton of superstition out of Manny. I think all ball players have a bit of superstition to them.
Up.
But with Manny, he's such a confident guy. I always felt like he didn't feel like he needed superstitions or luck. He just goes out and does his thing and he's Manny out there. So when he put on the tighter pants yesterday, you could tell that obviously something in his head is definitely not feeling quite right. I mean, anytime you go 0 for an entire series against your biggest rival, a team where they love booing you in their ballpark, can't be feeling very good about it. So if anyone wondered who saw the laughing in the dugout yesterday, does Manny care? Does he feel bad about it? Just the sign that he changed his pants yesterday to try to change something up tells me that he's not feeling too good right now.
Yeah, just scuffling, just straight up scuffling right now, pressing. And he said his quote, "Yeah, we're pressing for sure. We want to win the effing game. That's what it's about. It's about winning. We're not playing good baseball right now. Then what we're going to do, we're going to keep fighting. I think everyone in here knows what we've got. We have confidence in each other that when things turn, things are going to turn for the better. Look at the numbers on our baseball cards at the end. Our baseball cards haven't changed in 10 years. People took great exception to that. I did not. He said, we've got all-stars. We got future Hall of Famers. We know that you've just got to trust the process. I ask you, though, if the process is poor, do you trust that process? Now, I was talking to my pal Mike about this last night, and he didn't like that quote. And I said, buddy, baseball is one of those games where you do what got you there. Yeah, like you do what netted you a $300 million contract, right? That makes sense to me, right? I'm one of the best players in the world. I was second in MVP last year. Why would I go in there and tinker with my swing? Well, man, it's because your OPS is 600 and your batting average is this. Yeah, but we're an inch away here and there. So it's hard to say and it's hard to believe, but you have to have trust that they will hit their way through it. The other thing too is I see a lot of Ryan Flaherty talk. Man, I've never had a hitting coach. I've never had a game planner. I have no idea. None. I don't know what he does. I don't know what he doesn't do.
I know Bob Melvin said yesterday that he thinks his hitting coaches are doing an incredible job preparing the guys, individual meetings, group meetings.
Yeah, Nelly Cruz said we got plenty of information. We have plenty of information to do our jobs on a daily
What the
basis.
hitting coaches do is they prepare them as well. Our meetings, individual, we have basically 4 guys. They do a great job individually with each guy. Our preparation before games, breakdown of the pitchers and so forth, I think is really good.
Good. So it's just not translating to wins.
I got a few texts yesterday from people like, who's going to be fired, to send a message, which coach is it going to be? And I go, honestly, I'm not hearing any whispers of any coach. I mean, if someone came down to Bob Melvin today and said, you have to fire someone, I mean, who would you blame? I guess it'd be one of the hitting coaches.
I guess
maybe Scott Coolbaugh. He's the new guy.
I guess
not that it would be fair. He comes in spring training. Most of the guys are at the WBC that have been struggling. You've had like a month. You can't judge anything in baseball on a month.
Losing magnifies everything, obviously. And what it then does is people start questioning the organization top to bottom. Again, I'm not in there. I don't know. I don't know how far behind. I know we saw that chart last week that said their playing isn't as good as it could be. It's not as good as some teams. Tampa Bay has a worse swing plane than the Padres, but they barrel the ball more. So this weekend, perfect example. What did every Padre fan call for from our hitters? Aggressive. Be aggressive. Swing at strikes. Be aggressive. They walked 4 times in the series, 3 of them yesterday. They struck out.
Didn't walk yesterday.
No, they did. Didn't they walk? Didn't they walk yesterday?
Maybe it was Saturday. One game they didn't walk at all.
So I know they had 4 walks in the series. They had 23 strikeouts in the series. They had a ton of ground balls.
Yeah, they walked 3 times yesterday.
3 times yesterday, 1 in the previous 2 games, I do believe. I think it was 4 times total in a 3-game set. That's pressing to me. That's pressing. That's I'm going to go up there and hack, and I'm going to hack and
which is what I heard a lot of fans calling us last week saying.
Everyone was saying,
swing early,
get up there and hack.
early, get up there.
Urias, no
walks. And
Urias doesn't walk anybody.
He doesn't walk anybody.
Never does.
So I don't know the answer. I don't. They swing too much. They swing too little. They're too passive. They're too aggressive.
I do know that Ryan Flaherty, Bob Melvin Niebla, most of those coaches, Ruben Niebla, sorry.
There's a guy on Twitter named Melvin Niebla. He gets me every time.
Me too. Ruben Niebla. All those guys were in the coaching room last year when they went to the National League Championship Series.
Juan Soto.
The players were mostly there too. They've added Fernando Tatis Jr. and Xander Bogaerts. Unless you think those 2 guys, the main additions, have been the problem, and I don't think they are, then this is the same team that went to the NLCS plus a little bit better than last year.
It's better. It's confounding, man.
It's
absolutely confounding. It is a total mystery.
Did you see Tatis's quote? I know we're almost at the end of the hour. You gave Manning's. He said, for me, we're there. Our head is there. Our energy, our focus is there, but we just haven't come out. Just hasn't been happening. These are guys that have had to struggle before and know how to handle this, just having a strong mindset. But this is a game that will beat you down. It'll take you down. It will tell you straight to your face that you're not good at this.
Yes.
But bringing the confidence, trusting our swing, trusting the work we have put in, trusting our abilities to come out, I feel like it's going to be the toughest part or the biggest part. One, I thought, the more interesting quotes we've heard from Fernando Tatis Jr.
Massively.
All right, we'll come back. Second half of Ben and Woods is coming up. Get some interesting poll results that I sent out last night from Padres fans, how you're feeling about this team right now. Coming up next on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, we are halfway home on a non-victory Monday. Very manic Monday, if you will, here on Ben and Woods. I'm Woodsy. That's Paul Reindl, executive producer. Benjamin Higgins, your friendly neighborhood sports anchor here as well. It was not the most fun weekend baseball-wise, but getting off Twitter, got a whole new perspective. Had a great time with my family. I do fear, though, that I ruined Mother's Day for my beloved wife.
Oh, I doubt that you ruined Mother's Day.
She was a
You're
little
good husband and dad.
I try. She was a little. Here's what happens when you celebrate Mother's Day for 3 days. The last day loses a little. I kind of blew it all out on Friday, and then by the time it got to Sunday, it had waned a little bit.
Petered out.
It petered out. It's exactly what it did. And so Friday, she had a spa day with her friends. It's great. She loves doing that. So she did that. Came home to a massive, I went nuts, massive bouquet of flowers, a card. We had dinner. It was great. We watched the game, and it was fabulous. And then Saturday, we had T-ball, which she loves. We had a great T-ball game. So much fun being out there. Then she had some work to do. She had a couple of showings, so I had the kids. And
then we do her showings for her?
I did not do her showings for her. Then we watched the game again. And then yesterday arrived, and we went to breakfast, and I had another card for Mother's Day. But after that, it was kind of like business as usual. Like she had laundry that she won't let me do the laundry. I have offered, I'll do my own laundry because it's 2 kids. It's a lot.
How horrible for you.
It says she won't let me do it. I have asked her, I'll do my own laundry. She goes, no. And I said, why? She goes, because you won't do it in the hours that I do it, the off-peak hours, because she does it at like 1 o'clock in the morning. So she had to fold laundry yesterday, again, of her own. It's not 1955 in my house. Get my laundry folded. Make me a scotch. It's not like that in my home.
Make me a scotch.
Fix me a scotch. Give me my slippers. Where's my newspaper? We don't roll that way. So she was folding laundry, and I could tell this isn't exactly what she envisioned for her be pampered on Mother's Day. So I also didn't offer to fold the laundry. I don't think that's probably strike one. My kids were terrors yesterday. I said, well, just go lay down in the other room. And I told her, I said, look, next year, just go on a trip. Just go do something, and I'll keep the kids if that's better for you. She wanted to be around the kids, though, on Mother's Day. But I feel like I should have probably...
Double-edged sword. It's not Mother's Day without your kids.
Right.
Yet getting a break from them can sometimes be the nicest thing you can do.
It's clutch. So I apologize. I blew it too early. Premature Friday and Saturday. And yesterday on the actual day, it left maybe a little to be desired.
Honestly, in a fictional universe, that sounds like a dream Mother's Day weekend. Like your dad/husband of the year for providing all of that for your wife.
I mean, I thought it was all right. I just didn't feel like she had the day that she wanted to do. And also the Padres playing like ass did not help in the slightest. No one was really in a good mood, her included. I mean, she loves this team too. And just she came in there after that loss, and she just looked at me and she said to me, I looked at her and I go, I don't know how to handle this tomorrow. I really don't. I said, we've done this show 1,000 times. She goes, what if he just didn't even mention him? I go, it's the best bit of all time. If we would just come in, and by now it's 8:04. We haven't mentioned the San Diego Padres getting bodied by the Dodgers again. I said, I don't think we have enough material. There's just not enough material in the day to do a 4-hour show.
There are other cities and markets and sports shows where they could do that.
Yeah,
they could come in, and I have no idea in LA if they've mentioned the Dodgers one word from this weekend. It's probably all Lakers.
Oh yeah,
playoffs. You got mini camps for the Rams and
USC, and Bronny James is coming to town, and Rodman's kid. There's
Lakers
a lot
leading
to
the
talk
division doesn't do much for them at this point in the season. I don't know.
Yeah, so I thought it was a good idea. It was a good bit idea, but I said I don't have it in me to do it.
You know,
gonna speak honestly.
Our phone lines are open right now. If you want to express your unhappiness, if you need to get it out, you can vent to us. Absolutely, 833-288-0973. My guess is that we're not going to hear a ton of solutions, because if the Padres had any idea what the solutions were, they'd be implementing them right now.
Let me get you said something to me the other day, and I wanted to argue this point. We were talking on Twitter, or not on Twitter, on text. We were texting each other about the
You're
game.
not on Twitter.
I'm
so
not
I
on
can't
Twitter
argue
anymore.
with you on Twitter.
Got out of I'm on parole. We were all three of us were texting each other about the games. Just so you know, now that I'm off Twitter, you guys are going to get it worse from me because I need to talk to somebody.
I get it worse on Twitter now as well. Everyone who wanted to text things at you is just all of a sudden texting them at me now.
Good. Imagine doing that 15 hours a day for 5 years.
I can handle it. All
right, good. So we're texting the other night, and you said something, and I wanted to take exception with it. You said, because I made the point, I said, these guys are tanking not only their season, but they're tanking our careers. It's getting harder and harder to come in here and talk about this team on a daily basis. You said, listen, as long as Peter Seidler doesn't hold a fire sale, they're going to be an interesting team. I disagree. And the reason I disagree is there's nothing interesting about this team right now. Nothing. I mean, there is nothing interesting about this baseball team. Not one thing that they're doing is interesting. It's bad baseball. It's not like they're getting out slugged and we lost 9-8 and there's nothing interesting.
I would say the games
are horrible,
repetitive and mind-numbing at times.
Yeah,
but I don't think there's anything more interesting
than why they're struggling.
Than star players kind of at a loss, like looking very human right now and struggling. Mentally struggling, trying to figure out what's going wrong. I mean,
is that interesting?
And that turns little stories into big stories. You think if they go 3-3 in their last 6 games, anyone cares that they're laughing in the dugout in the 9th inning on Sunday?
Probably.
Probably.
Are they an interesting baseball team?
I think
because they're not.
They're fascinating. Yes.
I don't. I think the fascination is, what the hell's going on? But we've asked that question so much this year in this early season. We've asked that question. What the hell's happening? Why can't you guys hit anymore? Why can't, if they're good hitters, why aren't they hitting good? That's not interesting to me. That's confounding. That makes me question everything I thought I knew about baseball. Honestly, like, they're not interesting. Everything we pictured.
I think if they're 25-16 right now and 3 games up on the Dodgers,
I'm pretty interested.
I'm happy about it.
Yeah,
but
I'm interested.
I don't. What am I talking about though? What
winning?
What are really? We're talking about winning. That's a short conversation. Yeah, pitching staff's doing well. Guys who are supposed to be producing or producing at a reasonable level. They're not getting great production from the bottom, but Grisham's doing okay.
I see your point.
What do you say in those situations? All
right, we're kicking ass and we're going to win a World Series.
All right, well, that takes 4 seconds, and then you've got 4.5 more months to fill before the season's over.
Benny, we're sitting in here trying to parse out why great hitters don't hit anymore. It's not. These games are not interesting. They're not an interesting team to watch. They're just not. You get a runner on second. The feeling of dread that I feel from watching us hit a leadoff double is staggering. I was texting with Paulie yesterday. I go, leadoff double, about to be stranded again. Sure enough, stranded again. It's not interesting baseball. They're not playing interesting baseball.
Let's see if you agree or disagree. Let's get out to our phone lines. People are calling in. They must be somewhat interested. 833-288-0973. Let's start at the top with Joey. Welcome to Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan. Hi, Joey.
What's up, boys?
Joey, how we doing, buddy? I used to play ball with Joey. We won a lot of baseball games. We hit with runners in scoring position.
Yeah, not this season. We're a lot like the Pops this season. But it is what it is. We need some woodsy magic. But
I miss you guys.
The thing is, you're right. I mean, this team is boring as hell to watch right now, and it hurts.
Boring.
It hurts my soul. It's like you have this hero, you have these guys, and it's not working right now. But I think anyone who knows the game of baseball looks at this team and knows that we're going to be there. A lot of teams, and I mean a lot of good teams that make the playoffs, are hovering around 500 at this point in the season. It's not an abnormality. It's not alien.
Yeah.
But there are like glaring holes and weaknesses on this roster. And I mean, you just look at center field and it's like, what are we doing? Why is this guy still getting at bats? Like, I mean, like it's almost criminal. I get it. He plays great defense, but you have this guy standing next to him. You can just slide him in center and go get yourself a nice corner outfielder or run Nelson Cruz out there for God's sake. At least
Please
take
no.
a good at bat.
Please no.
Like, what's
Please
going
no.
on? Why?
Please no.
He takes good at bats. You'd rather have Trent Grisham freaking striking out and looking at bad pitches every single at bat at the bottom of the lineup.
I can't.
I wouldn't.
I can't have
I need
Nelly.
runs.
I can't have Nelly Cruz out in right field, Joey. I just can't do it, dude.
I think Joey's right though. If you're going to point out a real flaw on the Padres right now, it's the bottom of the order. And by the way, if Trent Grisham was the only guy hitting around 200 and he's playing Gold Glove defense,
You're fine with
it's
it.
fine. Bat him 9.
Fine.
No problem with that. Championship teams have had a lot worse out there. But the fact that they're getting nothing out of the catching position and Austin Nola
Hey, and listen, I
and
think,
Trent Grisham,
I think Brett Sullivan looks catcherish behind the plate. He can't hit
he's
either.
not the answer.
He's not the
He's
answer.
not the answer. That's 2. Then you've got Ha-Seong Kim, who has actually started hitting a little more. I like seeing him out there. I want to keep giving him opportunities. But, if he's struggling against a tougher pitcher that's throwing fastballs, now you got 3. And when you've got a 3 consecutive,
First
somewhat
base,
black holes
DH.
in your order.
Well, let's not. You can't stop at the bottom.
And okay,
Manny Machado and Jake Cronenworth.
That's 4 and
They're
5
horrendous
now. Yeah.
right now. Nelly Cruz, I have zero
Carpenter
faith in.
and Cruz
Carpenter and
are
Cruz.
very hit or miss. Okay, now we're a full 2/3 of the line.
And Xander is dying right now.
All right, now we're up to generally
1 and 2.
2 people who are somewhat reasonably
Tatis
productive.
homers, Soto homers in the first. Tatis and Soto better homer in the 3rd, the 4th, the 7th. I mean, honestly, like that's our offense right now. I mean, and for all of the
Tatis didn't have a bad series, but he didn't put the Padres on his back.
No, which he's
and
done
thus
before.
they couldn't win any of those games.
Yeah, but he was on base.
Yeah,
stealing bags.
3 hits, couple of walks, havoc on the base paths, had a home run. Like I said, it's a pretty good series for most Major League Baseball players.
No question.
But
if
you're
your
not
team
getting
is there
help,
to pick you up,
you're not carrying a team that way.
And listen, I see a lot of Melvin needs to find a lineup and stick to it. That's crazy talk. Losing 5 in a row, I'm tinkering with that lineup like a madman until I find one that works. If I'm him, we all had so much fun kicking around. What would you do if you had the lineup card? At this point, I may space those guys out. I may have Manny hitting in the damn 8-hole right now just to see better pitches. They will get out of it. These hitters will hit their stride. I don't think that those 4 guys and some of the other guys at the bottom will finish this bad. But right now, it is glaringly boring to watch and uninspiring. And for all the talk about being tenacious and stuff, bro, I heard the guys say after the game, after one of the games, hey, no, our head's in it. We had guys walking off the field after 2 outs, man, on Saturday night. That's inexcusable. Those little things, laughing in the dugout, those are the little things, Ben, where you go, are you in this? Are you ready? Like, are you in this? There's no reason a Major League Baseball player should ever not know how many outs there are. And it happened to Austin Nola
on Joe
and Joe Musgrove. Both of them. They both ran off the field.
Not guys known for their lack of
For
concentration.
the love of God, man. I
It's
know
weird
things are
because there
going.
was a pitch clock violation and maybe
that's
thing got a
whatever.
little flustered and
It's
confused.
all over the place.
Brett Honeywell had one yesterday before he threw his first pitch. They didn't even talk about it on the TV broadcast. Before he threw his first pitch, they gave him a violation, I think, for throwing too many warm-up pitches.
Yeah.
He thought he had one left and they didn't. And he looked a little rattled on that one pitch. Really the only bad pitch he threw that, of course, scored 2 runs.
Well,
and then he was good after that.
Well,
He got
and don't forget,
4 outs in a row, I believe.
Me who comes in here for 162 games and bitches about the umpire. Who hasn't really bitched about the umpire once this year? Me. The umpire, Bill Miller, was terrible.
Yesterday,
Terrible.
yeah.
Oh my God.
The Soto strikeout in the first
K is
inning,
so huge.
massive,
Terrible.
Ha-Seong Kim worked a great full count,
100%,
and got called out on a pitch that was 4 inches
Bill
outside.
Miller was horrible, but those things are magnified when you're hitting
when
your ump scorecard out.
When you're hitting 198.
Came out an hour ago. Overall accuracy 93%. Overall consistency 93%. The overall favor, he was. This is about as high as it gets. Plus 1.63 runs for the Dodgers.
That's absurd.
Padres were.
It's
it didn't,
absolutely
It didn't
terrible.
necessarily swing the
It's
game.
called
But if
strike
an umpire
accuracy.
is almost 2 runs in favor of one team, that's as bad as umpiring will ever get toward one opponent.
You see these often, right? What would you say the average called strike accuracy you see is?
I think it's like 96, 94 to 96. I mean, he was a little. What is?
That's the average. you
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's the average. Yeah.
he was 84% yesterday. He
But I
was
mean, and it was
terrible.
piss poor, man.
glaringly in
Glaring.
favor of the Dodgers.
It's piss poor.
glaringly.
But again, crap like that is magnified when you've lost 5 games in a row. Everything is magnified.
And again, not blaming the umpire for the loss yesterday. You got
No.
hit at some point, no matter
But
how
the thing is like
good or bad your calls are. You can't win without hitting. But
that pitch to Soto is not one of those. Hey man, that's too close to take.
No,
full
5
ass.
inches.
if he had
It's not
swung, you
close.
can't swing at a pitch like that.
I
There's
lo-
no way to hit a pitch like that.
The other thing,
There's no way you should be trying to hit a pitch
the
like
other
that.
thing I am absolutely. I'll give you this. There's one fascinating thing about the San Diego Padres. One, it's Juan Soto's 3 true outcomes: absolute piss missile, walk, or that rollover in the same spot every single time between the pitcher,
the
second
first
base.
baseman,
He
and
hits
the
it
second
right
baseman.
into the Bermuda Triangle.
Sometimes it's an out.
every
Sometimes
time.
it's a hit.
He doesn't strike out much. He hits a missile, he walks, or he hits that rollover into the Bermuda Triangle. It's the weirdest thing I've ever seen. I don't get it. It's
Oh.
unbelievable.
All right, let's keep our phone lines open. We got callers on the line. More phone calls coming up. 833-288-0973. Still haven't given you those poll results that show that Padres fans aren't nearly as bleak as it sounds out there, at least the ones that are responding to my poll today. And then we got
Whoa.
Jake Mintz from Cespedes Family Barbecue.
Keep your poll on Twitter.
P-O-L-L.
Oh, yeah.
Woods. P-O-L-L. We'll be back after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan. Just want to let everybody know that we're going to have our first YouTube virtual hangout tomorrow, watching the game 2 of the series against the Royals together. Me, you, Paulie.
Yep.
All of our YouTube members. By the way, I don't feel like you have to do that, but if you want a little extra little Ben and Woods time that other people aren't getting, you can sign up on our YouTube stream and become a member to our feed. Again, totally optional. You get to listen to the show for free as always, but we did want to throw that out to the tier ones who really intense and like their extra Ben and Woods time.
I mean, you're going to get my kids screaming. You're going to get Hannah bitching at me to do something.
Is this why you left Twitter, just to force
bitching.
people to have to come to the virtual hangout to interact with you?
No, God, no. It's not why. I couldn't care less. But I think this is
You can talk through the game with us, though.
Yeah, so I'll watch the game together.
Yeah. It'll look just like it looks right now. on
Yeah,
YouTube,
just like our show.
Minus the headphones. I'll probably have at least one toddler on my knee watching, and yeah, we'll watch it together. We can
get live reaction,
comment, live reaction. Yeah, you'll get fully uncensored, unfiltered Ben and Woods, which would be a lot of fun.
I'm just the same, filtered or unfiltered.
It's absolutely true.
Almost no difference.
You'll get to hear some very salty language from probably me and my children, if I'm being honest. Watching
your children curse way more than I do.
They do.
I got this poll that I put out yesterday after the loss, and I thought the results were interesting. Said, let's see how low we've gotten. What do you think is now the most likely outcome to the Padres season? And the 4 options I put were under 500, over 500, but no playoffs, make the playoffs, but an early exit, or make the playoffs and a deep run.
I was so surprised when you sent me the results.
So we're now at almost 1,700 votes with 7 hours left. Currently, with the overwhelming lead at 45.6%, Padres fans believe this team will make the playoffs and make a deep run. The second choice at 23%, make the playoffs, but an early exit. So almost 70% of Padres fans, despite the team's losing streak, despite the record of 3 games under 500, still believe this is a play.
I've been getting dragged for this take. Right? All he was telling me, I was just getting crushed.
22.1% say they'll finish over 500, but they'll miss the playoffs, and only 9.3% thinks this team will finish under 500.
Yeah, okay. I think I'll take that one out right now. I don't think this is a below 500 ball. The next one,
literally they are right now, but yes.
Yeah, I mean it's
eventually they'll know.
We're 2 months from the All-Star.
Yeah.
It's the hard part is that it's the good news is that the scuffles are happening in May. It doesn't soften the blow at all. I there's a misconception that I'm like, don't worry, it's early. That can be true also while, hey, you're playing like absolute dogheads right now. Both things are true. Thank God that there's 119 games or 120 games to go. Because now could this team go? Could this team win 90 games and lose 30? Yeah, they could. They could. I don't see them being a 500 ball club or worse at the end of the year. So I'll take those 2 out. I will be honest with you. I am leaning more towards making the playoffs and an early exit than I am the other. Whereas you would ask me that 6 weeks ago, I would have said, yeah, I think we can win the division and win a pennant. Certainly.
Well,
I think you'd be a fool to call, hey, we're winning the World Series. How did that work out for Dave Roberts? It's so hard to do.
I mean, given the options that are there, at this point, 7 games behind the Dodgers, not insurmountable, but you have to play good baseball. Assuming the Dodgers don't collapse at any point in the season.
We need to put the Dodgers out of our
that's fine,
mind.
But that means if you don't catch the Dodgers, your best hope is your only hope is a wild card,
right?
Which always puts you at risk in an extra series. That means an early exit in the first. I'm thinking, first 2 rounds.
Yeah, I would say
that's
you have
to
an
play
early
another
exit.
round. You don't have home field advantage. The best way to make a deep playoff run, and the Padres overcame it last year, but the best way to consistently do it is to win your division.
Dodgers win the division every year, and they don't win the World Series every year.
Yes, but would you say that it's easier to get through the wild card round if you don't have to play it?
I mean, yes.
You know you're in the. If you can finish with one of the 2 best records, you know you're already in the division round. So it takes away all the possibility of losing in the 1 round. So then you only really have to win 1 round to say we made a pretty deep playoff run. We got to an NLCS. In that season.
What teams that made the playoffs last year won their division?
The Braves,
Both
the
teams in the
Dodgers,
First round exit for the Braves,
and the Cardinals.
right?
first round exit for them.
Yeah. And the wild cards were the Mets and the Padres and the Phillies.
Phillies
Yeah.
were a wild
The
card.
National League was a little bit of an aberration. The wild card teams did all better than the division champions in the postseason.
So-
it was upset in the wild. Both the wild card rounds were upsets. Both of the division rounds were upsets in
I've
the
said
National
this.
League.
I've said this for the last few years, and I'd point back to when the Dodgers and Giants were jockeying for that division, and they were killing themselves to win the division, killing themselves. Both teams, just all got game sevens every single night. Neither of them won the World Series. The Giants won the division. Dodgers didn't
True.
win the World Series. Giants
Same
didn't
thing
win
with
the
the
World
Mets and
Series.
Braves at the end of last year.
just cannibalizing
And,
each
and
other.
I don't know that the Padres should be killing themselves to win the division.
Right.
But if you can win the division,
That'd be
it's
great.
still better than not winning and saving your pitchers in the wild card series is
honestly,
always going to be better.
Honestly, with this team, I disagree.
You want them to have to play 2 or 3
Yeah,
extra games in a wild
I
card
do.
round?
Do we have the kind of team that is going to be able to take 3 days off and come out guns blazing? I don't think so.
All right.
I don't think so. I feel like we're better.
So maybe this is part of the strategy. The Padres
No,
don't
it's
want to
not.
win the division.
It's not a strategy.
Make sure the Dodgers do that.
No,
They-
it's not a strategy by any choice. It may be a matter of circumstance, but it's not a strategy. You're not going to punt it, but don't kill yourself. Get to the dance. Get to the dance. Period.
And ultimately, as bad as they play, the Padres are a game and a half out of a wild card spot.
It's
right now.
it's absolutely stunning to me.
Despite their 198 average with runners in scoring position,
It's stunning. That's the most stunning stat.
Despite things going about as wrong as they could go
They still
for
got
the
19
first
wins. It's
41
amazing.
games,
It's amazing. to
they're
me.
only a game and they haven't played themselves out of one thing this year,
which
Not
is
one thing.
staggering. That's the staggering part of all of this.
All right, we will talk.
It's
more.
good to hear, though, that people are still
The
optimistic. 'Cause
silent-
I still
the
think there's
silent-
a lot to do.
Pretty large majority, 70%, still has a lot of faith in this Padres team out there. We just don't hear from them on a second by second basis on social media, and neither do you.
I
Anymore.
don't hear from any
I
of
know.
My life
Get
is
it.
so much better.
Mental health over there.
That's right. Mr. Mental Health.
Talk more,
Mr. Trying to be a good dad.
talk more baseball with Jake from Cespedes Family Barbecue. Talk about Bryce Harper's incident yesterday.
He's so gritty. He cares so much. It's so gritty when he does it.
Maybe he's just a hothead.
He's the grittiest. Nobody grittier.
That's coming up next with Ben Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. The Odyssey app lets you jump back to the moments you missed on 97.3 The Fan. And everyone wondering why Woods left Twitter, you can jump back. Hear about his first weekend without Twitter in our open this morning at 6 a.m.
Didn't realize it was so popular.
You are very popular. You're very missed on Twitter.
It doesn't feel like it. From the some of the things I heard, it was not very missed at all.
I saw a lot of people who were sad to see you go, and Hannah as well.
Yeah, which surprised the hell out of me, by the way. So I was getting DMs like, hey, are you and Hannah okay? And I go, what are you talking about? They said Hannah nuked her account too. And I go, she did? I had no idea. This was not a premeditated sort of thing. And I said to her, I go, well, now it looks sketchy. I said, now like you nuked your account and I nuked mine. It looked like, she goes, well, I was on there to like be with you and support you. And I go, oh, well, that's very nice. And
it looks like family crisis.
Yo, God, no, everything's great.
Did
Other
Bo
than me
nuke his Twitter account as well.
That if I have my way, my children will never have social media. But no, I said it looks so sketchy. You need to get your account up. She goes, I want to. So just trying to be more present at home, and that's been a big problem, man. For me, it's been a huge problem.
So anyway, while you're listening to 97.3 The Fan, you can see what you missed. Click to listen on demand. And then download the free Odyssey app, search 97.3 The Fan, tap earlier today.
I mean, you guys know me well enough to know that nobody scared me off of Twitter, right?
Yes.
I mean,
you have literally put your life on the line a couple of times because you were so unscared of people on Twitter.
Yeah,
I was scared for you sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, that's not it. It's just it's a massive time suck for me that I do for free. So, if Adam wants to pay me $50,000 a year or $100,000 a year extra to be on Twitter, 15 hours a day, fine. Let's talk about it. But until that day happens, it's not worth it to me.
Now, our next guest does a bang-up job on Twitter
killer.
and social media. Going to talk with Jake from Cespedes Family Barbecue on a grand old Monday right after this check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
From the premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the Premier Auto family, here's Kelly Danick.
We still have a few things going on out here. Traveling on the coastline southbound 5 past Cassidy Street. Collision over the right shoulder. Fire crews got that slow lane blocked. They did get a stalled vehicle out of the way north 5 coastline at Cannon. Traveling on northbound at 15 past El Norte Parkway. We have reports of what looks like a camper shell in the fast lane. And southbound 15 before the 163, there is a collision, not showing if lanes are blocked. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Wood, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Out we go to our premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline, and it is brought to you by Grand Old Barbecue on a grand old Monday. It's now, if you've been keeping track, we've been going back and forth between Jake and Jordan. Jake's getting 2 in a row this week, though. I guess Jordan was otherwise occupied. I'm fine with that. Love talking to Jake Mintz from Cespedes Family Barbecue. Back with us here on 97.3 The Fan. He just tweeted, can't wait to talk about how everything is fine with the San Diego Padres.
So fine. So fine. So much fun.
Thanks for having me on.
It's our pleasure.
I'm going on short rest here. Jordan is at a bodybuilding competition.
Okay.
So I'm feeling it.
That makes sense. That makes sense. I've seen him.
Is that true?
No.
Okay.
No, I've been making up lies about why Jordan is unavailable. On the podcast, I said he was, he is traversing the Andes mountain range on horseback.
Ben actually does
Everest.
that.
Yeah, I do like to travel. That's for sure.
Ben is
last
traveler.
year.
I like
Jake,
there to be nice hotels, though, so I'm not sure horseback on the Andes would be my.
Ben missed
pick.
a Friday show last year during baseball season because he left Thursday morning. Friday morning. He flew to New York from San Diego for dinner.
For a fancy farm to table dinner.
It was a really good dinner.
One dinner.
Where was it? What was the restaurant?
It was at Stone Barn.
Oh,
Farms.
Stone Barns of Blue Hill. Yeah, that's
Blue Hill.
totally worth it.
Yeah, he's been vindicated.
I've never been. I don't make that kind of money, but I've been to the other restaurant, and it is fantastic.
I had a
do you guys
free
wanna talk about
invite.
baseball?
It was worth the flight over for sure.
Yeah, let's talk.
Yeah,
let's talk some baseball. We've hit the Padres for the last 2 hours and 40 minutes essentially on our program this morning. My overarching thing is, there's still time to figure it out. There's still a lot of time. There's a lot of games left. But they're a boring baseball team, and that's the thing that surprised me the most. They're boring. It's not a fun watch right now. It's futility offensively. The pitching's been okay, but they're boring as hell for a team with guys that they have on it. They're just boring.
I'm gonna just go quick hitter here, just so we can get this out of the way. Couple things. Number one, it is early.
Yeah.
All right. It's still early. It's May 15th. you look at, I saw some tweet that was like the last 4 teams to win the NL, other than I guess the fake 2020 season,
Right.
were all like around this record at this point of the season. Like there's a lot of time to turn things around. It's not good, but there's a lot of time. 2, totally legitimate for fans to be frustrated because of how lifeless and how boring it has been. So both of those things can be true at the same time. And that's important to understand, right? 3, people calling for like Bob Melvin's head or AJ Preller's head, who 3 months ago were celebrating these people like they were heroes, need to take a breath. Let's have that conversation at the end of the season if things don't go well, okay? Number 4, the video of Tatis and Machado and Odor laughing in the dugout that people were angry about.
Just going to ask you about that. Yeah.
That's the whole point of this team. Okay. This is so much better than the opposite, which is them being like tight and frustrated and angry in public,
sullen
and panicking. Like them laughing, like that's who these guys are. And that's how they played their best. Don't think that they're not taking this seriously. I think that that's unfair. If you are having a bad time at work, right, and failing at work, would you be expected not to laugh for the entirety of your time at the office? No. Like, this is just a moment in time that was captured by cameras. I don't really think it's particularly an issue. Now, in 2 months, if it's the same thing is going on, again, we can revisit.
Yeah,
those are my thoughts on the San Diego Padres.
With all due respect, Jake, why are you such a sellout, and how much are the Padres paying you to say that?
Because you know that's coming.
Millions. I'm the whole payroll. Who knows where the money's coming from?
He's not even a Padres fan, and he's saying this.
I know. It's good to get the outsider's perspective.
We talked about it earlier, like the day we've seen it in the past when Tatis isn't smiling ever on the field. Like that's when we have a major issue.
That's when there's a problem.
Yeah, I mean, you're right that they are boring. Now, the
boring.
biggest actual problem with this roster by a mile is the catcher, is Nola right now.
And Sullivan.
Because Sullivan. Sullivan, I don't have any blame on. Like, it's not like he's not this. Like, he's like a AAA third catcher guy, right? Who's being forced to do something that is above his skis. So, like, I'm not like no one should be mad at Brett Sullivan.
Not at all.
Right? Yeah, I'm just saying. But the fact that he's there is the issue, right? If you look at all the other good teams in baseball, what do they have? They have a very solid, reliable catching situation. Go across the NL. Barnes and Will Smith have been the catchers for the Dodgers since like the frickin' Reagan administration, right?
Braves have
like
a great catching situation.
Yep.
The Braves have like 2 of the best catchers in baseball. Murphy is great, and that should have been something that the Padres were in on over the offseason. Okay. Even in Milwaukee, they went out and got the other Contreras in the Murphy trade, and he's been outstanding for them defensively. Like that is such a vital part of being a good team.
The Rockies catcher is fantastic. He's fantastic. I mean, it's the thing that's killing us right now.
Exactly. And the reason it's important, and I'm not trying to hate on Nola, who again switched to the position when he was, 55 years old in the minor leagues, is that when you are a catcher, the things that you do impact the entire pitching staff every day. And Nola is not hitting well enough to be this mediocre defensively, and he is not good enough defensively to be hitting this poorly.
What about
about
the counterpoint though? Our pitching's been pretty good. Pretty good. I mean, it has been does that fall? Does Austin Nola get, and this is just me playing devil's advocate, does he get credit for that? Their pitching's been pretty good, and you're getting quality starts out of every guy almost every single time out. So sometimes he's behind the dish, sometimes it's Brett Sullivan, but does he get any credit for that?
He gets some credit for that. I just don't. I feel pretty good that he's not spectacular back there.
Yeah, agreed.
His framing numbers are fine. And the big issue I have, like his pop times are really bad.
Yeah.
Like he's not great at throwing out runners. And in today's game, that's a big deal.
Yeah, for sure.
I agree.
I wanted to ask you, we're talking to our pal Jake Mentz. Always love our conversations. Such a nice to get a national perspective from time to time. Jake, I want to talk about Bryce Harper, and I want to talk about what happened yesterday. I nuked my Twitter account on Friday, so I actually had to I felt like I had to go look at microfiche this morning as I had to search for it and pull it up instead of just accessing it easily on Twitter. Watch the incident with Bryce Harper. There's a double standard in Major League Baseball. There really is. If anybody else, let's say Javi Baez does the exact same thing. I mean, Bryce Harper is being lauded and praised as a gritty ball player who cares. Javi Baez would be a hothead who needs to learn how to control himself. And we've got plenty of guys. If Fernando Tatis Jr. did the same thing, which I couldn't get my head around if that happened.
Machado.
Manny.
He's a thug. He's a
thug,
dirty player,
dirty
whatever.
player.
Yeah.
I just very quickly on Manny, I think things have changed with Manny.
They have.
I think his reputation in the sport and for fans is
Much
a little
better.
different than it was 3 years ago.
Much
But I get
better.
your point.
It's wild. It's wild to me to see that. Now that was pretty innocuous what the pitcher did. I mean, he just basically looked over and clapped his glove, and Bryce went ham on the guy. Went nuts with a busted up arm. With a busted up arm, he's got to wear a cast for when he plays.
So the way Bryce reacted tells me that he said something legitimately nutso.
The magic word,
Okay?
maybe?
I don't know if it's a magic word, but like here's the deal with this too. Like for Harper to do that to Jake Bird, with all due respect to Jake Bird, who's a big leaguer, my man, it's Bryce Harper. Like you are on the Rockies, okay? He is on the Phillies. You are Jake Bird. He is one of the most important players of a generation in the sport.
No, Harper is, no question.
I don't particularly, this is maybe not fair. I don't care what was said. Bryce Harper's right. Like maybe that's a lazy way to
So maybe he
this.
said, I'm Bryce Harper and you're Jake Bird.
That's it. That's all it is, dude. Like Jake Bird, bro, know your place. I'm sorry. Like it's Bryce Harper. He's going to be in Cooperstown. He's iconic. Everyone looks up to him, and you're on the Rockies.
That's
You're on the Rockies.
That's fantastic.
And that is my favorite part of this confrontation was the lip reading where Bryce Harper said, you are a loser effing organization. Every single one of you is what he said. Okay. Which is incredible for a number of reasons. Number one, Chris Bryant is like one of Harper's best
Those are
friends.
their buddies,
They grew up
yeah.
together in Las Vegas.
They
They're really
played
good
ball,
buddies.
yep.
And Chris Bryant, respectfully, sold out to be on the Rockies for the rest of his career and make way more money than anybody else would have paid him to live in a nice city and be on an irrelevant baseball team. And I respect that more than other people do. Like Chris Bryant has already accomplished everything
Yeah,
he
get
could
his ring.
accomplish.
Yep.
Right. I would do the same thing. But Harper being like, hey, dude who I've known forever, you're on a loser organization. And Chris
Fantastic.
Bryant's probably like, yes, I am. But what do we know about Bryce Harper beyond the fact that he is an amazing hitter?
He's a hothead, man.
He knows ball, dude.
He does
He
know
knows
ball.
ball. He knows ball. A couple weeks ago, I interviewed him about Jared Kelenic, okay? Someone who he had never met before. And he was speaking to specific swing changes that Jared Kelenic had undergone. This is a guy in across the country in another league who he had never played against before. And he's like watching highlights of this guy. Bryce Harper knows what's up around the league. And so when he says the Rockies are a loser organization, that is not an insult. It is a statement of fact. Okay.
Jake,
That is coming
his
from
home
an
run
informed perspective.
I'm sure, Jake, you remember it, but even Padres fans, his home run in the NLCS Game 5 go-ahead off Robert Suarez and the take on the changeup before that, it was remarkable. I mean, it gutted us, but it was remarkable.
You have to tip your cap to the guy. Like he's just reached a point where, he's Bryce Harper. He does what he wants. And like, I'm sorry for Jake Bird, but like, what are you going to say to Bryce, man? Like it's Bryce.
We're only 2 games
It's like
in
Michael
front.
Jordan chirping at the 8th guy
That's
off
true.
the bench.
We're
Like, who are you?
We're only 2 games in front of the Rockies, by the way. If we're talking
Yeah,
about
I know,
loser
but like there's a level of
organizations.
relevance here. The Rockies are living in 2007 still, dude.
I love it.
Padres did go to the NLCS last year.
That's true.
Helpful. Jake, I
That
want to
is true.
ask you I think, favorite baseball moment from the weekend. I'm assuming you saw it. I wanted to get your reaction. Rays, Yankees yesterday, 9th inning, 2 outs. Aaron Judge is up as the winning run, 2 outs. Sends one deep to center, and the pitcher, the closer, Jason Adam of the Rays, just like falls over. Like he knows he knows he's given up the walk-off blast, and then turns around, and I guess the wind was blowing a little bit. The thing dies at the warning track, and then you can see, like, grabs his chest, like, oh my God, I almost had a heart attack right there. And Aaron Judge looks at him, kind of points at him and go, yeah, all right, you got this one.
Got this
I
one.
love that moment yesterday for some reason. It really tickled me.
Well, it's funny because, what a bad pitch. Like, it is a terrible pitch. Hanging 79-mile-an-hour slider in the middle of the plate to, like, the best hitter in the world, maybe. Like, what are we doing here? And there was a conversation last year about how pitchers try and be too perfect against Judge, and they make a lot of mistakes to him. And I think that is a real thing. And when Jason Adams, like, his reaction is in part to the swing and in part to the pitch. Like, if he had thrown a good pitch here and Judge had hit it, I don't think he would have done this. But it was just such a hanger that it was the right assumption that the ball was out.
Yeah, he doesn't miss many of those.
No, he didn't miss that one either.
Manny, that used to be the pitch that if you threw it to Manny Machado, he hit it 450 feet. He's scuffling so bad right now, and I kind of am of the opinion that if Manny can get going, I think the Padres get going. He is. I know Tatis is the motor, but man, Manny is really the engine of this team, and he had the worst series I've seen him have against the Dodgers this weekend. It's tough to watch. Not only, hey, you're getting out, guys get out, but rolling into double play after double play is just, it's staggering to see right now from him.
I think he needs a fake
little stint.
I think he needs, yeah.
He hates it. He doesn't like to go
oblique.
Yeah, he doesn't like to go on the IL. He posts.
I know
every
that
day.
he's a play every day guy,
Yep,
but he's like he needs to go to Cancun.
The phantom oblique.
Well, Jake, I will leave you with our stat of the day, and that is the Padres average with runners in scoring position right now, 198, which would be by far the worst in the history of baseball by a wide margin for any team, any season since they started recording this stuff back in the 30s or 40s.
It's amazing.
Yeah, that'll be okay.
Yeah, that's what we keep telling ourselves, and they keep getting worse every week. Somehow
you guys are
getting
just on
worse.
The payroll, so whatever.
Yeah,
we're
that's
on
true.
the payroll.
Yeah,
that's it.
What's pointed out, we pay the Padres.
Yeah, we
to
pay the
broadcast
Padres.
games. It's the other way. They're on our payroll.
They're on our payroll, actually.
Jake, thank you so much. We'll talk to you in a couple of weeks, I guess, when Jordan's back from his bodybuilding
Excursion.
competition.
Yep. Yeah, in the Andes.
Goodbye.
Thank you, buddy.
Jake Mintz, Cespedes Family Barbecue, and a grand old Monday. I see in the chat, grand old sausages. So good. I like the brisket. Sausages are amazing, though. Check them out. All guests appear on our Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline. Save money the right way with Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Visit them today in the Carlsbad Auto Mall. Chevrolet, find new roads. Got a little juicy there for a second. Did you hear that? Or was that just, yeah. Still, that cold from last week when I was out on Tuesday, not totally cleared from my head. It takes like 2 weeks once you've had one of those.
It takes a while.
Get all of the phlegm out. It just
You're doing great.
Keeps oozing out over the last few days.
You're doing great.
All right, are we already in our final hour?
We are.
Ronald Report headlines coming up. NBA playoffs. We are down to the final four. Get you an update there. We'll talk some more Padres. Keep our phone lines open. 833-288-0973. More Ben and Woods on the way on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. All right, Padres back home after the short drive from Los Angeles. 3 against the Kansas City Royals tonight, tomorrow, and then Wednesday, and then a day off on Thursday. And the Boston Red Sox come to town. And then next road trip, they go back east for the Washington Nationals and the New York Yankees next week. So the Padres will get their shot at Yankee Stadium in less than 2 weeks to head to New York. That's always interesting when you go back to New York to play some baseball games.
Nice short porch for you out there, Juan Soto. Nice short porch out there, Oppo right-handed power hitters, and should be a good series. My wife's going to be actually at one of the games, and I'll have the babies, and we'll be watching on television. But she's excited going to the new Yankee Stadium for the first time. It looks pretty rad. I've never been there. I went to the old one a bunch, but the new one looks completely insane out there.
You know, something I was thinking of before we get to the Rondo Report, and I don't think we'll do it today, but maybe later this week. If you really want to try to figure out where it went wrong for the Padres in the first 40 games this year, do a little bit of like a assign blame kind of percentage. Like, how much do you put on Bob Melvin? How much is on, Juan Soto? How much is on Manny Machado? And it's got to add up to 100 and figure out, all right, like who takes the lion's share? Because one thing I've really struggled with, it's easy to say Austin Nola has struggled. Do you really think he's for 50% to blame for what the Padres have gone through this year, though? I just think that's putting too much on a guy who generally hits 8th in your lineup.
We were texting over the weekend about Rugi Odor, and I'm like, yes, he probably shouldn't be on this roster.
But how much
you are
blame?
Kidding yourselves if you think that
the 25th
he's
guy
the
on
reason
roster.
that the Padres are not playing well.
It's a good question, man.
Like, where is it? Because at some point you say, well, Soto, early was Soto.
Yeah. Early it was, I mean,
it feels now really bad to blame the hottest hitter on the planet right now in Juan Soto.
Yeah, I saw some numbers from him yesterday. I thought I grabbed a screenshot. I didn't. Saw some numbers from him yesterday in the last 2 weeks, first in every category in baseball. That's what you want. Somebody made the point to me over the weekend. It's really hard for 4 guys to get going at a time. And I sat and I thought about that, and I went, yeah, I mean, to get going would be 280, 300 type situations. Like, that's if you got 280 to 300 just batting average out of the top 4.
That's a great point, Woods. You don't need them all to get going. You need their slumps to be 240.
Correct. Yeah. You need their slumps
one of
to
them
be
is
240.
hot, and the other 3 are hitting 240 to 260. You're still going to put up a lot of runs that way. The problem is that when the guys are not going, they're all hitting 140.
I mean, ZZ in the chat says the blame is on Manny, period. And an honorable mention to Tatis for missing 20 games. What was their record in those 20 without him?
It was a little bit below 500.
A little bit below 5.
Still a little bit below 500.
They've got him. They're a little bit below 5. Manny, I think probably takes the lion's share of the blame.
I would lean that way. I don't think Bob Melvin has had like a great first 40 games either.
I don't think
some of the challenging decisions I've had questions with.
Sure.
I think there's areas where he could improve as well.
Again, magnify, like the loss to the Dodgers last week is not on Bob Melvin, right? The one pitch to Mookie Betts and the game's over. I mean, if you're going to spread blame around, it's such a results-based business. Hi, I'm the offensive coordinator, right? I'm the offensive coordinator. Well, how's the offense? Dead last? All right, it's probably on me.
Right,
to wear.
I get
that
it. But
being said,
are we also letting the pitching staff off the hook a little bit too much? Because while they have all generally been decent, we get a lot of quality starts, 6 innings, 2 runs. How many dominant efforts have we seen this year from a Padres pitcher?
A few. I mean, I can think
maybe there was a Waka, there was a Lugo.
I think a Darvish 1-0 loss is dominant. I think Blake Snell has showed dominant stuff. Blake Snell has the worst run support of anybody in baseball. The worst. No one gets fewer runs a game than Blake Snell.
Right.
So I'm not like.
But 6 innings, 2 runs is good, but that's still a 3 ERA. It's not bad. I take
3 ERA is a $25 million a year pitcher now.
And I would take that all season long as an average. But every once in a while, you expect Blake to go 7 innings, 2 hits, no runs. Like, just keep the other team from even sniffing the scoreboard for 7 innings.
That's
I'm not saying every single time, but we haven't really seen it all from Blake. We haven't seen it from Joe. Joe has obviously hurt and got off to a slow start, and then had to pitch in Mexico City. That didn't help. He made one mistake against the Dodgers, a hanging pitch that cost him 3 runs when he probably should have been out of that inning. Not totally his fault, but I think he hasn't been Joe Musgrove yet this season.
Back to Melvin, and I'm the world's biggest Bob Melvin fan, but Brent Honeywell can't, again, every inning is a high leverage inning right now for the San Diego Padres bullpen. And we talked to Scanlon about it on Friday.
Yeah, because we had no offense.
There's no offense.
Down
So,
one, up one,
every inning.
tied. It is
Every inning is
close game.
you're biting your nails, you're holding your stomach, you're smoking rally cigarettes. Whatever it is you do, pouring yourself a drink. Every damn inning is a high leverage inning. Brett Honeywell's not the guy in those innings. He's 0 for his last 3, I think. And again, he's not going to get banged for those 2 runs because they're on Ryan Weathers. Ryan Weathers, you got to get Max Muncy out. You're a lefty. That's why you're in that game. You got to get Max Muncy out. It's not on. Honeywell won't see those 2 runs come in, but those runs are charged to him. And that hit knocked us out of the game. We have no prayer. This team into scoring 4 runs, Ben. Oh my God, against that team, I'll shave my head. They score 4 runs in an inning off the Dodgers.
They've only had 4 runs in an inning once this season.
One time. So
all season.
Is Brent Honeywell
Slam
my guy
Diego
there
is only 3 years old, and they can't even get 4 runs in an inning more than once in 41 games.
Wasn't that a Mexico City game?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so if you look at the ERA, hey, listen, if you're going to take the ERA out, hey, well, Joe's been good other than that game in Mexico City. Well, then we got to take all the numbers offensively out for this team as well. And if you can believe this, they're worse than what those numbers say. Take Mexico City out of it, they're probably 150 with runners in scoring
22
position.
runs in 2 games in Mexico City.
If somebody wants to do those stats and pull those out, let's see how bad they really are when they're not hitting at 8,000 feet elevation. If you're going to do it for the pitchers and give all the pitchers a pass, you got to take the good away from the hitters too, because they're worse than what the numbers say they are, which is staggering to believe.
All right, let's get some other headlines this morning. It's time for the Roundel Report.
And get things started here with our today's edition of the Roundel Report.
Now tuned into the greatest.
Welcome to the Reindl Report with Paul Reindl.
Hi, Paul.
All right.
2 stories from the world of sports that we haven't gotten to yet.
We'll start off in Major League Baseball.
And 1 story that you didn't know you needed.
Are you laughing, biatch?
It's the Reindl Report
Hey, Paul, how you doing? Okay, how are you?
on 97.3 The Fan.
Are you ready to bless the mood? I need some help, please.
That was good.
Can I get a yeah? Oh, yeah.
All right.
All right.
It's not all right.
It's not all right. It's
Everything
going to be all right.
sucks.
It's going to be all right. All right, gentlemen. We'll start off in the association. Just 1 game yesterday. Celtics 76ers game 7.
What a series, man.
Yeah, it was a good series. Winner advancing to face Miami in the Eastern Conference Finals. And that
should
will
be a
be
good
it's going to be Boston because Jason Tatum, my God, 51 points yesterday in the closeout game. Celtics won 112-88. If you give me a second, I can pull up some comments that was made by Joel Embiid.
Yeah, I was just gonna bring that up.
Let me
big process guy.
pull that up.
He is. He's
Big
the
fan.
process.
He's the process.
He's the process.
That's literally.
By the way,
his
Steph
name.
Curry's 50 points in Game 7 NBA all-time record lasted about a week and a half.
Maybe a week, yeah. Let's see here. Joel Embiid was talking after the game. Give me 1 second.
All right, listen, when Paul calls these up, listen and tell me if you think that Joel Embiid's being a bad teammate and throwing his teammates under the bus, or maybe if it's a bit of a let's give him a pass on the non-native speaking sort of card when it comes to how he's communicating with the media after
What
the
about
game.
the heat of the moment bit?
Yeah, I think that also plays a factor.
Yeah, there's three factors. Go ahead.
You can't win alone. I can't win alone. Me and James, we just can't win alone. That's why basketball is played 5-on-5. So, we just need everybody to just, try to keep finding ways to get better, and we'll be fine.
I don't dig it.
I think it's a little bit out of context. He talked for like a minute, but he said, obviously going to 7 games, having a chance to close out at home, which we didn't do. I still believe we got the chance to win. And he talked about, It's not just, it's a team game, but we can't do it on our own. And look, if you hear it out of context, if that's all you heard, you could probably draw the conclusion that he's being a bad teammate. He's throwing everybody under the bus. And what about the other 3 guys that were on the court with him? Said, we got to look at ourselves. I got to be better and I will be better. That's what I'm focused on.
He needs better. He does need a better supporting cast. The Celtics have more talent around Jason Tatum. I mean, they got really good players in their starting lineup. So what Joel Embiid said is not at all untrue. The timing of it coming after he scored 15 points, 8 rebounds, and had a negative 28 plus minus in game 7 as they got run off the court in Boston feels like you're passing the blame, passing the buck to someone else. But I think he knows that he needed to be better as well. And that was part of the message that he indicated to the media afterwards.
I agree. All right, we'll move on here. In the NFL, it's not retired yet, but we do have a new CBS sports analyst, and I guess you could say current quarterback.
Not Tom Brady.
No, not Tom Brady. Matt Ryan. It wasn't that long ago. He was the MVP of the league. So he was released by the Colts in March, played 1 year in Indianapolis, and he is joining CBS Sports to be an NFL analyst. That was announced earlier this morning. He's 38 years old, and it says he's going to perform roles as both a studio and a game analyst across all of CBS's platforms. He tweeted out himself, excited to join the NFL on CBS family, looking forward to breaking down the game this season. P.S. This is not a retirement post. So he's going to be
waiting on a call, potentially. Is anybody interested in Matty Ice?
Hasn't filed the retirement paperwork yet.
Maybe he'll broadcast the first half of the game and
then play the
second half. That would be interesting.
Just coach on the side. Jake, come on. Get on down. Or Matt, come on down here.
I don't care.
Matty Ice is always a great sounding nickname.
Yeah.
It never totally...
He didn't fit the
nickname. He didn't really fit the nickname.
No.
He liked calling me Skinny Ben. It's just not that accurate of a nickname.
Thin Ben.
Thin Ben.
Oh, Ben? Oh, that's Thin Ben.
Thin Ben. Slim.
Slim. Oh, Slim? Stretch?
Stretch.
This is not a great nickname for me.
It's not for him.
And the guy who's, let's be honest, his defining moment is blowing a 28-3 lead in the Super Bowl.
Just run the football.
His nickname has something to do with being clutch. It's just downright weird.
Just run the football. Run it. Run it until you can't run it anymore. Run it yourself. Run and slide. Just protect a 25-point lead. Run the football, guys. What are we doing? You had that sucker in the bag. In the bag.
Finally, saw this over the weekend. We wanted to talk about this here, Woodsy. I saw a tweet from Craig Elston, who joined us on Friday in person. And shortly after that appearance, he tweeted, read this in the morning, deleted the Twitter app from my phone. I'll keep my account, check in occasionally on desktop. If you use this site to reach me, find me on Instagram.
This can't be a true story. It can't be. It just can't be a true story.
He's quote tweeting a thread, and it's terrible. And I think he made the right choice. And I've kind of been on that same page with you for a little while now. The thread says, thread of new reporting for the last couple of weeks. If you searched cat on Twitter, went to the search bar and typed in the word cat, the box would auto-complete to cat in a blender.
You heard about this, Ben?
The video
I've not.
that you would see is exactly what you hope it's not.
Yeah.
And it says, last week, a London mom came home to her son asking if she had Twitter. When she asked why, her 11-year-old son said, there's something about a cat in a blender. I heard about it on the playground. She went to Twitter. She found exactly that video. She reached out to Twitter asking how young children on the playground all knew about a torture video that was going around on Twitter. She received no response. A week went by, more animal torture. Like, I'm literally trying not to tear up because more animal torture videos became a freaking trend. I almost said a bad word right there. When NBC News reached out 8 days after this had become a thing, Twitter responded with a poop emoji.
It's fantastic.
And it says here in a clip from an NBC News story, Twitter's press account automatically responded with a poop emoji. That's the company's standard response for the last month because
Killer. That's so cool.
Well, the new regime of Twitter got rid of a ton of employees.
Ooh.
And so now if you have any gripes with Twitter, if you email and reach out to them for help or concerns, like, I don't know, animal torture videos,
Yeah,
you will get a poop emoji.
that
in
is so
return.
bad, man. That is so bad.
Says Yoel Roth, who used to run trust and safety at Twitter, said that there were multiple layers of redundancy to make sure that these sort of things would not appear. And he believes that Elon Musk's new administration must have ripped out those filters as part of the new free speech plan. So,
Cool. Again, my timing is
good time,
impeccable.
my
Thank you
friend.
very much. Feel great about it.
It's just,
I wondered if
Just a reminder, free speech is not the right to say anything you want at any time. And
you can't post videos of that.
I wondered if I would miss it terribly. I can't tell you the freedom that I feel. Honestly, you want to talk about free? That's how I felt all weekend, not being bogged down in the mud. It felt so good. So good. So hey, listen, it may not be the right decision for you. Certainly was for me at the perfect time. Perfect time. Because if I had seen that video, that would have pushed me over the edge. Yeah, that would have been one of the straws that helped. But it was that's a gnarly story.
All right,
on that note,
that's the Rhino Report. We
on
got
that note.
in-season Sammy at the bottom of the hour. He was at Dodger Stadium, inside the belly of the beast all weekend. Talk to Sammy coming up. Preview tonight's game and the series. Woodsy wanted to know about the pitching matchup tonight because this one's a big one, especially for Woods. What did you say? Game 7 of the World Series. Treat this one like it's.
I'll be there tonight.
Like it's everything.
You'll be there?
All right.
Freaking win. Man.
Is tonight the bobblehead night too?
It is.
Manny Machado
bobblehead night.
bobblehead tonight. I saw someone said, "Oh, the Petco Park's going to be half empty after that road trip the Padres were just on." Not on Manny Machado bobblehead night. It's not going to be.
I mean, fans have been showing up all year, so it's time to pay them back tonight.
I don't expect that to change.
Yeah, it's
Not just because it's bobblehead night. I
Right.
expect a good crowd tomorrow.
Yep.
Expect a good crowd.
I'll be there
on
Wednesday, ripping the kids out of school, going to the game on Wednesday. Excited about that. But yeah, I mean, the fans are showing up. They're spending their hard-earned dollar. Peter Seidler spending his hard-earned money. So time to get it turned around.
Back with more after this on San Diego's #1 sports station. Checking traffic here on 97.3 The Fan. And I misread the starting pitching matchups for the series a little bit earlier. I was looking ahead to Tuesday. Tonight, Padres-Royals will be Brad Keller, right-hander for the Royals, against Michael Wacha. Keller, probably the best starter they'll face in this series, 3-3 with a 4.31 ERA and a whip of 1.76. Nothing too spectacular. Then tomorrow, it'll be Brady Singer against Seth Lugo. Brady Singer has a 7.71 ERA, which is even worse on the road, 8.59 on the road. And then Wednesday's day game finale just has undecided listed for the Royals against Yu Darvish. This is kind of a series that is set up to get the Padres healthy. Doesn't mean that they will. But.
You wanted the weaker part of the schedule, and look, make no mistake about it, the Padres have played terribly this season, uninspiring. One step forward, two steps back. Certainly, they have had a tough schedule. That's not an excuse. They've had a tough schedule. They don't anymore. So that is now you are in the quote unquote weaker part of your schedule. Red Sox are the AL East is pretty gnarly right now. Every team's above 500.
3 games above 500 minimum. That's the Red Sox. They're 3 games above. They're in last.
Yeah.
That division's been incredible.
But man, you look at some of the starting pitching they have and you go, okay, like no problem. We can handle business against those guys, but it doesn't matter. Starts tonight, Petco Park, 6:40. Win this game. And like I said, man, if I'm Bob Melvin, knowing I've got Yu Darvish on the bump on Wednesday, let's call it these next 2 games. I'm going balls out to win these next 2 games. We got to get this team on a streak. There's no better team to do it against than the Kansas City Royals. No offense to the Royals fans out there. That said, empty the tank, man. Empty the tank and trust that Yu Darvish could get it locked down on Wednesday. I'm going nuts tonight. If I'm him, if you put a guy on, you better be looking over your shoulder.
If I'm the Royals manager, I'm saying, hey,
go for broke, man.
This team's struggling right now. Let's keep them struggling and
100%.
Go in there and let's win some games on the road and turn our own season around.
It's the same.
By the way, we've got our $10 bet board right now.
Yeah.
I'll give you $10 if you can name the Royals manager in the next 5 seconds.
Ned Yost.
Good. He used to be the manager.
No, it's Mike Matheny.
No, he used to be the manager
Hang on.
as well.
It's
you're done. It's
no,
over.
I know it. Idiot.
I'll give you the initials, but you won't get $10 out of me.
Okay, what?
MQ. I can't get it on a Q. You're in trouble.
Mark.
What is a quahog?
What is a quince? Mark Quince.
Food, Billy.
I have no idea.
Matt Quartraro.
Wow. You can give me 1,000 guesses. Matt Quartraro.
Quattraro.
Matt Quattraro. They would call him Q.
Quattro. I would call him
Q.
Quattro.
Quattro or Q.
Matt Quattraro is the manager and previous bench coach of the Tampa Bay Rays.
What is a quince?
In his first season as manager of the Kansas City
What is
Royals.
a quail?
It's Quattraro.
What is a quahog?
Honestly, they're all major league teams, and I hate to say this, Padres. You gotta win some.
You gotta win games.
Their manager,
manager,
Matt Quattraro.
Enough is enough.
Their pitchers have whips around 2.
Oh,
you gotta hit and win some of these games here.
Oh,
Impose your will. Announce your presence with authority. It ends today. It's gone down. What do we do if they lose? I can't come in and do the show again. Adam won't even let us take marijuana on the air. Tomorrow, if they lost, tomorrow will be a great day for the Edibles show. Just saying. Is it worth the fine? I think it is. If I knew how much the fine, if the fine was $250, I would pay it right now. All right, you guys want to eat edibles on the air? It's going to cost you $250. Done. Sold. Sold. And we just sit in here for 4 hours like, Ben, do you feel anything? Ben? Be the greatest.
I don't need edibles to do that.
It would be the
I
greatest.
just need to say Quattraro.
It would be the greatest
Start
radio
giggling.
of all time. I don't know how much the fine is or if we would lose our jobs. I don't want to lose our jobs.
Oh,
all right. Yeah. Impose your will tonight, fellas. Does that make you, though? It makes me go, oh, God, they're going to press even harder now.
A little bit. A little
They're
bit. Yeah.
going to press even harder.
All of a sudden, I'm more nervous about this series than I was about the Dodgers series.
Yeah, you lose to the Dodgers, you're like, oh, they're a good team. You lose to these guys, you're like, all right, maybe we are terrible. So, I don't know, man.
How do you lose 11 straight series to the Dodgers?
20
outside of the playoffs.
10, buddy.
Season series.
Series.
Is 13 years.
Guys.
You haven't lost this one yet, but you're going to need to dominate. There's only 2 more series against the Dodgers. Home
3
in
and
August,
3.
And at Dodger Stadium, I think 3 and 4 in September.
So
7 more games.
You're 1 and 5.
Yeah, you
That's
need to go
6.
6 and 1 in the last 7 to win the series.
And they have not won a season series again since 2010. And
But tell me again that it was the meme on Friday night a couple weeks ago.
If it is, what's the statute of limitations? Is it just against the Dodgers, or is this cursing the Padres in every game they play, no matter what?
We'll never win again?
I'm confused. Yeah. Is it just a never win again thing?
If that's the case, I was wrong. Never do it again.
The rest of
they won the second game in Minneapolis. They lost did they lose the very next game?
Yeah, no, they won the next.
Series?
They won the one in Minneapolis. They lost the next 2 against the Dodgers.
Then they won
one in
lost.
Minneapolis. Yeah. So they can win post meme. It is possible to win most.
Have we seen one meme?
I was kind of hoping the Dodgers would do something untoward against the Padres.
They're too classy.
Did I see that they actually have a plaque commemorating where Fernando Tatis Jr. hit that home run at Dodger Stadium?
Been there for a while now.
That's really cool.
Yeah,
I didn't realize that.
They're classy. We're not.
Would you want them to put if Mookie Betts?
That's a stupid question.
Did you want a Mookie Betts plaque?
Very stupid question.
That's really nice.
If he keeps hitting the way he does against us, we're going to have to put a statue
of
him.
Padres Hall of Fame.
He will be in the Padres Hall of Fame.
All right.
In the greatest opponents ever wing.
At Dodger Stadium this weekend was our friend Sam Levitt. In season, Sammy will check in his regular Monday segment with Ben and Woods next on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. You know, it could be worse. We all stayed home and watched the Padres get swept by the Dodgers.
Sammy's still new here.
Sammy's like,
But you could have driven all the way up there through all that traffic and spent 3 days in that horrible town, and then had to drive all the way back through the traffic.
Did he stay up there?
I think he did, or did he go up and back and forth every single day? That would make it even worse. We'll find out next from Sam Levitt after this check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
From the Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the Premier Auto family, here's Kelly Danick.
You guys are wrapping up our morning drive, which is a couple problems. One of them is this vehicle fire on the westbound King Freeway right at the 805. It's still got the 2 left lanes blocked. Now getting reports of a collision on the Gilman on-ramp to northbound 5. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
All right, out we go to our Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline. He was our man on the scene in the Beast of the Belly, Dodger Stadium this weekend. Our pre- and post-game show host, in-season Sam Levitt with us on 97.3.
Sammy, did Adam make you do that?
Drive back and forth every day?
He did.
No.
Yes,
no,
you did.
Come on, you don't have to
stayed
lie.
Up there.
You did. Okay.
No, I stayed up there. Yes. Like now I made a mistake because no.
Hey, Sammy, I found a nice hostel for you.
It's in Palmdale. It's only an hour 15 away from the stadium.
It's right by the outlet mall, so you'll be fine.
Curtains may be questionable, but that's okay.
No, I stayed up in LA, and I will say I did make a mistake. I left way too late on Friday. I didn't leave here until about 11:30, 11:45. That was a major mistake because it took me about 3+ hours to get up there. So I learned my lesson on that, which I've learned before, but somehow I always tend to leave a little bit later than what I plan to do. But no, I stayed up there. Sometimes I do pass by those hostels. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
There's one here in Pacific Beach,
Yep.
I think, and there's one in Ocean Beach.
There's one in OB,
I think
yeah.
I think to myself, because I've stayed in hostels while traveling, like I did it in Australia when I went there. I think to myself, I could do that. I mean, what if I just got out of this apartment, lived a hostel life?
Yeah.
Working on 97.3 The Fan, Padres. That would be a pretty good way to live, I think.
Nothing like pooping with like 40 other people around you, like the county jail.
We'll
pretty
compare
much.
notes sometimes.
Yeah.
I think a Hampton Inn is a hostel. So.
Yeah, he does. I love a Hampton Inn. Continental breakfast, the whole bit.
Unless you're going at least Marriott or Hyatt. I'm pretty much it's youth hostel below that
Well,
level.
speaking of hostile, Sammy, a very hostile, some hostile feelings about the San Diego Padres after the rough weekend. Now you were down in the locker room. I mean, you can provide, things that we and the fans don't get. I can't imagine the mood. And I know everyone, saw them yucking it up yesterday and late in the game. And we've talked about it. It's kind of overblown at this point. Nothing you can do about it now. How is the mood of the squad right now?
Yeah, I mean, look, let me also just make something clear, and you guys know this, but for the fans listening out there, I'm never in the clubhouse post game, right? Because I'm doing my post game show, so I'm never down there right after the game. I'm always in there pregame. Look, pregame, it was business as usual.
Yep.
I mean, typically, I'll tell you this: when I walk into the clubhouse before a game, whether it's here or it's in LA. Whether the team's on a 7-game win streak or a 6-game losing streak, I always feel like it's very, very similar. Now, I don't know if that is true in every clubhouse across the major leagues, but at least in this one, throughout my 2 seasons covering this team now, when I walk in there pregame, I couldn't tell you whether the team is winning or losing, which, I think is probably a good thing, right? Because it's a very long year.
Consistency.
I would prefer my team to be consistent and somewhat even keel. Obviously, it's a season with a lot of ups and downs, but at least while I've been in there, it's been the same. Now that's pregame, right? I mean, I don't see what goes on post game. We certainly play audio from the clubhouse after the game. We played some from Joe Musgrove after the start on Saturday, and he was talking about how the whole team, needs to do better, and obviously was frustrated with what was going on. But I mean, at least from what I've seen,
it's been, consistency, the word like you said.
I keep hearing the same thing. The Padres need to do better. They need to do more. But I also hear from the manager and others that they feel like maybe they're pressing too much, which is sometimes you're doing too much when you're pressing at the same time. Is there some confusion you're sensing from the Padres right now, Sam?
I don't know. I mean, look, I thought yesterday, if we want to talk about pressing, the too early opportunities with runners in scoring position kind of made you raise your eyebrows, right? Because they get a leadoff double from Tatis, and then Machado, Soto, Bogarts go down. Leadoff double from Grisham in the third. Later, they have 2 on with 1 out when Tatis walks, and Machado and Soto go down. And it's something I talked about yesterday. What I would love to see from this offense tonight and the next few days, just doing some of the little things right. Like, in the first inning yesterday, Manny, at the very least, getting Tatis over. Yep. Brett Sullivan, even at the bottom of the lineup, at the very least, getting Grisham over. Those were the scenarios that made you kind of raise your eyebrows and made you start to feel like maybe guys are trying to do a little too much and trying to, break this team out of this offensive slump. So, look, I'm with you guys. I mean, I know you guys have talked about it for 3+ hours. I'm not sure what the answers are either. The issues with runners in scoring position are confusing, confounding. I mean, when I saw AJ Casville, and I didn't know this, and I've kept a close eye on the runners in scoring position number because I was admittedly, after they went 0 for 6 to begin the game yesterday, I started calculating it, and I'm like, are they going to finish this game under 200 with runners in scoring position, which ended up happening. Yep. But then when I saw AJ tweet out that it was the lowest number batting average with runners in scoring position in recorded history, or it would be, I guess, the team batted that way throughout the course of the year, my mind was blown, because that is just, it's so confusing with the talent the Padres have in this lineup. So again, I guess the glass half empty view of it, right, is why is this going on so long? Why are we now 40+ games in and the issues haven't been fixed? And I guess the glass half full view of it is like you guys were saying earlier, typically these things tend to even out. Like when people at the ballpark asked me in Dodger Stadium, I had a bunch of people ask me, what do you think about what's going on? And I said, I think they're going to be okay, right? I mean, this should even out. The bats should get going, but we're 40+ games in and that hasn't happened yet, clearly. So, I'm with you guys. I think it's a pretty confusing time, even for me, to figure out what the answers are and why this team has struggled, and especially certain scenarios so much.
There is a weird sense of peace that you get being the worst of all time, because there is only one way to go. There is only one way to go, up. And if these were a bunch of guys without track records, if these were a bunch of guys that were unproven, you'd say, yeah, this could be. I mean, the A's right now, you don't think they're really going to turn it around. I would bet anything I own that we'll finish the season better than the Oakland A's. That's not saying much. The payrolls are massively different.
If the Padres were a game or two over 500 right now, but had the best average with runners in scoring position in baseball, I'd actually be more worried.
Yeah, I'd be a little bit more
than
worried.
Being 3 games under 500 and having the worst average with runners in scoring position.
Yeah, no, it does. You look at it and go, wow, that's actually staggering. There's, and you hope that it opens like the floodgates, Sammy, open. Like you get one breeds 2, 2 breeds 4, 4 breeds 8, and then the next game you get 3 or 4, and then it's just not a problem anymore. Now you're going to run into those games where you're going up against a Spencer Strider or a Max Scherzer or something. You're like, oh, we got our ass kicked today, and that's going to happen. It's baseball. That said, man, you got to make. I hate it. I don't even want to say make hay. You got to impose your will on a team like the Royals, and I'm sure their manager's telling them the same thing. Hey, these guys are scuffling. Do not be
his name again?
Matt Quatraro.
Very good.
Obviously, do not be the team that you let this. Don't be the team that the San Diego Padres get hot against and save their season.
Yeah, and look, 3 out of the next 5 series are against the Royals, are against the Nationals, and are against the Marlins, who have been all right this year so far. But I'm with what you said earlier. I mean, I think right now with where this team is at, you've got to take this thing one game at a time. Let's focus on tonight before I worry about tomorrow, before I worry about Wednesday. And that goes for the offensive struggles as well. Look, I'll admit, I've had many moments over the course of the first 30-plus games where a good example was Tuesday night in Minnesota, where they're moving the line, they're tacking on, they score 6 runs, they get a home run. And I said, this was a great sign in the right direction for this team, breaking out of some of these offensive struggles after the 2 games against the Dodgers over last weekend. And then, since then they've lost 5 in a row. So even for me, from an analysis, from a post-game perspective, I mean, I've got to see it now for a few straight days. And you're right. I mean, look, the Royals have the 2nd worst record in baseball. Tonight they go up against the guy in Brad Keller, who, has a 4.31 ERA. They haven't seen him a ton, but is, sort of a middle-of-the-road starting pitcher. I mean, this offense has to get it going, and we'll see if they can do that. The other part of this, guys, just to run off some of the notes I've been writing down here as I get ready for the game tonight. The other part of this that I think hurts, and again, it's like this weird glass half full, glass half empty thing. How do you want to look at it? The Padres, and I know the bullpen has had, the bullpen has had some shaky moments, but in May, through 12 games, the Padres have a 2.61 ERA. That's the 3rd lowest team ERA in Major League Baseball. They're only 4-8 in the month of May. So again, it's this weird thing where it's like, well, is that good because the pitching's been really good?
Right.
And if they could just hit a little bit more, they'll be okay. Or when they start hitting, is the pitching going to falter? I don't know. That's the really confusing part about all of it. And my other takeaway from the Dodger series, and I guess I'm kind of just rambling a little bit here, but I don't mean this to come off as Dodger loving or make anybody else, mad out there out of the Padres fan base. But here's what I thought, and I think you guys probably thought this too. And the Dodgers are playing really well.
Very well.
And that's another reason why, at this point, 7 games out, the Padres have to figure out how to start winning here. And I think it has to happen sooner rather than later, because what I saw from the Dodgers, I mean, Betts is playing really well. Freeman's playing really well. They've got some young guys in that lineup who are doing a really good job. I mean, the pitching between May and Urias and Gonsolin and Kershaw and the guys in that bullpen. I guess my point being, for all the talk about the Dodgers taking a step back, they seem to be figuring it out and really coming into form here.
They took
again,
that personally.
Yeah,
they took that a little
the
personally.
difference in the series was just hitting with runners in scoring position. Dodgers were 500 yesterday. Padres were 0 for 9. Dodgers hit home runs. Padres hit home runs. Dodgers hit doubles. Padres hit doubles. Dodgers had 18 hits in the series. Padres had 16 hits in the series. It's when you get them.
Yeah, it's when you get them.
That the Dodgers are doing so much better than the Padres. They are coming at the right moments, and the Padres are getting hits. They're just not getting them at the right time. Sam Levitt is with us here. I did want to ask, because I didn't hear a ton of talk about it. Going into the series, everyone's saying what a hard time Fernando Tatis Jr. was going to get from Dodgers fans. I heard some booing. It sounded like Manny Machado still got
gets
more of it from Dodgers fans. What was your perspective, Sam?
They should actually be cheering Manny as poorly as he played against them. They should be rooting for him.
I thought it wasn't even close. I thought Manny got booed way louder than Fernando.
Yeah.
Now, I thought the first game of the series, the Friday night, I felt like Fernando probably got the loudest boos he got of the series. But I'll tell you what, I didn't think it was close to what Manny got. I think on the boo meter, it is Manny Machado, the clear favorite at Dodger Stadium, which, I mean, I guess the first time I was a little surprised about. I'm still not totally sure. You would think maybe Fernando would take that top spot now, but I got to think anybody else who was there would agree. I thought it was pretty clear. Yeah, throughout the series, it was Manny won and Fernando was behind him as far as the boos.
I think it's the same reason Padres fans booed Kevin Brown so much when he left for the Dodgers specifically. He left and went to the team's rival It just hurts more to fans when a guy leaves as a free agent and chooses to
Big
go
time.
to the team you hate the most. And I know Dodger fans would never admit that they hate the Padres, but it sure feels like they hate the Padres a lot more than they hate the Giants right now. I thought Fernando was funny. Someone asked him, well, how did it compare to Minnesota? And he said, they cheered me in Minnesota. They liked me there. That was fun. I know it was going to be worse here in Los Angeles.
Yeah, it would. I was there when he said that, and I chuckled too when he said that. But look, I mean, look from the Fernando perspective, I'll tell you what. The cool thing about him is that he seems to be really taking this all in stride, right? I mean, when the Cubs fans were getting on him and he's dancing, I mean. And by the way, I overall, I know, Fernando had a couple of moments in this series, and you guys talked about it earlier. I mean, he's been pretty good considering the time he's missed, and I've been pretty impressed with what he's done. Also, the work in right field. I mean, can you guys remember a moment where you've said he looks like he's not comfortable out
Looks
there?
great.
I mean,
Totally at ease,
I
man.
know. Right. I know it gets lost with everything else going on right now, rightfully so. But the fact that he's gone out there and has looked as comfortable and as good as he has, I think is a major positive. And I mean, since he's come back, we haven't heard a word about anything in Fernando Fernando.
Just
in
a really
field.
good right fielder.
There was one ball. I want to say
no
it was
unhappiness. I mean, really good.
Saturday night. There was a blooper in front of him, and he pulled up on it.
As he should have.
Didn't try to make. And I thought
It's great.
that was
smart
such a
play.
wise decision there.
That's a veteran right
That would have been
fielder
such a
play.
low percentage play. And really, the thing I worried the most about Fernando Tatis
Was
Jr. out there
that.
was he was going to try to do too much, that he was going to try to make the 5% play either hurt himself or allow a single to turn into a triple.
That was heady.
By
It
being
was.
too aggressive. And when he pulled up on that, I go, man, that's more mature. That's a lot of maturity for a guy who's only been out at that position for a very limited time, especially on the big league level.
That was heady. That's a good observation. I thought the exact same thing.
Sammy, well, it's good to have you back in San Diego. Petco Park tonight. It'll be better than Dodger Stadium, I promise. And we'll talk to you again soon. Thank you so much.
All right. Sounds good, guys.
Thanks, buddy.
In-season Sammy, Sam Levitt on our Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline. Save money the right way with Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Visit them today in the Carlsbad Auto Mall. Chevrolet, find new roads.
I need to before we leave, I want to shout out the tier ones who donated to Bo's Little League. He finished second place in most money raised, got his first trophy ever, and won a big prize. Got 4 tickets to Disneyland. So you guys that donated to their fundraiser, I thank you so much. I cannot ever repay you. So kind of you.
You could come back on Twitter for them.
No.
Okay,
Yes.
never mind. All right, that's it.
Keep your money.
Good Monday show. We'll see what happens Tuesday, whether it's edibles Tuesday or not.
What's the
Depending on what
fine?
happens
Tell
tonight.
me the fine. I will pay the fine, whatever it is.
Coach and Braden coming up next. For Paul Reinl and Stephen Woods, I'm Ben Higgins. Have a great rest of your Monday from all of us here at 97.3 The Fan.